check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Thank you very much, Rod. Good afternoon to you from Dunham Field on the campus of South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. This is the 27th annual Rushmore Bowl here in Rapid City. This is the third consecutive year that the Arrows have played in the Rushmore Bowl. 2 years ago, Watertown defeated Rapid City Central 26-18. Last year defeating Stevens 46-13. And once again playing Rapid City Stevens here tonight in the first game of two in this 27th annual Rushmore Bowl. Second game of the night features Aberdeen Central making the long trip to take on Rapid City Central. Coming up for you on the pregame show, brought to you by Fisher Rounds and Associates. We'll hear from both coaches, John Hodorf, the head coach of the Watertown Arrows, and a coach that he coached with. Steve Svensson coached for the Watertown Arrows as well. Steve back in South Dakota coaching Stevens now. We'll talk with him as well. We'll also check that weather and temperature of the game, starting lineups, and opening kickoff. All coming up for you on the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. We'll take our first time out. We'll come back with Watertown head coach John Hodorf in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. We are Dunham Field on the campus of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, and it is the 27th annual Rushmore Bowl. Steve Svensson is back as head coach of Rapid City Stevens, and I had a chance to chat with Steve on the field just a little while ago. Coach's comments brought to you by the South Dakota Division of Consumer Protection.
Coach, before we talk about the ball game, returned to South Dakota. You were gone, you came back, you were gone, you came back, and you're back.
Playing ping pong a little bit. You know, I love South Dakota. It's my home, obviously. I've got a few years before I can retire, and my wife and I really talked about this move, and it's a place we want to, the Hills is a place we always talked about coming back to retire to. So we're excited to be back, and, talking to you brings me fond memories of Watertown because I can't say nothing but great things about the people there and how I was treated there, the administration and the community. I can't say anything good about everything's good about Watertown, and I really enjoyed my experience there.
We loved having you. Now you're at Rapid City. Now you've got Stevens. Tell me about your football team.
The kids have been very welcoming. It's been a nice, fun bunch of kids. Kind of reminds me of the Watertown crew that I had the last year. So they've been a fun bunch. But last week we played OG. They're a good football team. OG is, and I thought we played really well for about 3.5, 4 quarters. We just kind of ran out of gas a little bit. Had a few too many penalties in that game. But I thought our offense did more things than I thought we were going to do. Those kids really got a grasp on the concepts that we're trying to do. We threw for over 300 yards offensively and ran for 94 yards on the ground. So that's not a bad attack for the first week coming out. So we felt really good walking out of there other than the penalties. And I thought, defensively we were in great position to make some plays, but we just didn't quite finish things. And I think that's something we talked about all week long is we've got to be able to finish defensively and be more physical on the offensive and defensive line. If we can take care of those things and eliminate penalties, I really feel good about our football team.
Size, speed, experience, what do you have?
Well, we've probably got more speed than anything else, and I think a lot of these kids, there's a few that played the year before. They lost a lot of seniors last year, so again, just trying to get a feel for this team, but we really do have some good outside speed, and that's the one thing that I like about this football team. I don't think out of my whole career I've had this much speed in my team, so that part's been real fun. So if they can grasp the concepts, you can really open your playbook up and do a lot of things with it. So I feel good with where we're at right now.
Talk to me about offense. Run, pass, first. What do you like to do?
Well, with just what we have in our football team this year, we are going to be throwing that football all over the place. When I had Bratlin and those guys, you got to adapt to what you've got, and we ran the football a lot there, which opens up your passing game. So we're hoping that our passing game will open up some of our run game, which it did last week, until, we started getting ourselves in 3rd and long, 2nd and longs, and, obviously you got to change your plan a little bit, but I really like what we can do with our passing game with this football team.
How about on the defensive side?
Defensive side, we've just tweaked a few things. We're more of a 4-2-5 look, but we've got the capabilities of going to a 3-4, which is something I think down the road we're going to kind of make that adjustment to. Just because of the depth that we have at line, and I think that's something that we've been tweaking and just keep looking at, and I think that's an adjustment that we'll continue to look at and continue to make. But right now we're a 4-man front. Kids they're comfortable with that scheme, but we're going to make that change over during the course of the year.
Okay, aside from football, for your friends back home in Watertown, update us on the family. Where is everybody and what are they doing?
Well, Shariah right now, my oldest daughter is going on year 3 at Duke University Hospital. She works in the neurointensive care unit there, and she really loves her job. It's a lot of stress on her, obviously, but she loves the job. And then Kaya, my youngest one, who was in Watertown during that time when I was there, just graduated from Liberty University. She's trying to get her own photography business started up. She worked with a group out of L.A. and doing a lot of venues out there in North Carolina and Virginia and South Carolina, so she covered some ground out there through that company out of Los Angeles. So she's trying to get her own business started, so it's going to be a slow start, but in the meantime, she's excited and she's doing real well.
Steve Svensson, head coach of the Rapid City Stevens Raiders, on the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk starting lineups and get ready for football here this afternoon or this evening. It's the 27th annual Rushmore Bowl. Stevens and Watertown coming up. Kickoff in about 15 minutes. So let's take a timeout. We'll come back, check the weather, check the starting lineups, and get ready for football in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Rapid City. This is the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. Our weather, our temperature, the game brought to you by Active Heating and Air Conditioning. And let's get an update on that from Rod Lenning. Rod? Well, they're not right. It is mostly sunny, and I'm looking directly into the sun here where I'm at for this ball game. I'm on the opposite side of the field than I have been the last couple of years, looking out into the sun, and it's very bright. It's very pleasant outside because the wind is blowing nicely. The temperature, as Rod mentioned, isn't terribly warm. The bright sunshine is shining on the field. It's very, very nice out here, except in my booth. I'm in a booth where you can't open the window. For those of you watching and listening online on our audio and video stream, you're going to see my shadow in the window. You're going to see my white shirt with the black stripes simply because I can't open the window, and there's no way to avoid that. So you're going to have to put up with that during the course of the ball game. There's nothing I can do about that. But it is very warm in my studio. I've gone through a bottle and a half of water already, trying to stay hydrated. But for the players and for the fans outside, it is absolutely gorgeous here at this venue. It's a beautiful venue. The weather is beautiful. It's going to be a great night for high school football here between the Watertown Arrows and the Stevens Raiders. We'll take a timeout. You're listening to the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. We'll pause and we will come back after a 2-minute timeout. Currently playing the national anthem, and again, I can't open a window, so let's take a break. We'll come back in 1 minute. Welcome back to Rapid City, 27th annual Rushmore Bowl here. Third consecutive year the Arrows have played in this ball game. Let's check your starting lineups, and they're brought to you by Glacial Lakes Orthopedics. Starting for the Watertown Arrows, up front it'll be Lincoln Stahl starting at center. Braxton Locker moves to a guard. Mason German the other guard. Tyler Dean and Connor Wirches will be the tackles for Watertown tonight. Evan Faulkner a wide out, Dawson Schmidt a wide out, Mason Lloyd also a wide receiver, as is Jacob Van Dusseldorf. Brett Fossum, the running back. Brandon Smith injured his ankle a week ago, but he is starting in this ball game tonight. Defensively up front for the Rapid City Stevens Raiders, the ends are Ryan Brink, 6'2", 210, and a junior. Wesley Fossum, 6'1", 245, and a senior. Tackles are James Vandervoort, 6'1", 245, and a senior, and Jesus Jones, 6'2", 265, and a junior. Linebackers, Isaac Gailson, 5'10", 210-pound senior. Jacob DeSmat, 6 foot 185 and a senior. Brock Myers, 6'1", 185 and a senior. The cornerbacks are Jacob Hafner, he's 6 foot 155 and a junior. Joe Weber, 5'11", 185 and a junior. The safeties, Colton Hartford, 6 foot 175 and a senior. And Michael Norman, 6'4", 185 and a senior defensively for Stevens. Flip the chart to the other side. Eli Hout is the center for Stevens. He's 6'1", 245 and a junior. Spencer Pigman, 5'9", 215 and a junior at one guard. Brennan Boos, 6 foot 260 and a senior at the other guard. Jonathan Coronado is a tackle. He's 6'1", 235 and a senior. Cameron Jackson, 6'3", 265 and a junior at the other tackle. Bridger Nesbitt is a receiver, 6'3", 180 and a senior. Michael Norman is another receiver, 6'4", 185 and a senior. Branson Keel, 6'3", 170 and a junior. And Sam Marascianato, 5'10", 165 and a senior wide receiver as well. And you heard Coach Steve Svensson say they're going to throw the ball around. Uriah Glenn is their running back. He's 5'9", 180 and a sophomore. And Colton Hartford is the starting quarterback. He's 6 foot 175 and a senior. For the Watertown Arrows, up front they'll start Tyler Dean, 6'1", 220 and a junior. Mason Schulte, 6'3", 285 and a senior. Mason German, 5'11", 220 and a senior. And you'll hear some other names up there as well this evening. The linebacking crew, Will Lossing, 5'9", 210 and a senior. Brett Fossum, 185 and a senior. Sam Strop, 180 and a senior. And Ben Burry, 165 and a senior. The D-backs, Peyton Johnston, 5'10", 165 and a senior. Evan Faulkner, 6 foot 170 and a senior. The safeties, Cale Stevenson, playing a little bit on an injured ankle, 5'10", 180 and a junior. And Mason Lloyd, Mason is 5'8", 145 and a senior. Starting lineups brought to you by Glacial Lakes Orthopedics here this evening. The bus loaded at 7 this morning, made the trip through the fog west of Clark and through Redfield, around Cottonwood Lake to Miller, out to the pier area, went down by the river and stretched the legs for a while down by the river, had lunch there, boarded, went to Wall. When we got to Wall, it was cold and rainy, as a matter of fact, and they went through their walkthrough on Wall's beautiful field out there along the interstate, made our way the rest of the way to Rapid City for this matchup tonight between the Arrows and Stevens. When the game's done, eat a little bit, board the bus, and head back home. Live audio and video stream on our website at gowatertown.net, brought to you by Sharp Automotive. And again, you're going to see my ghost in the window. There's no way to avoid it. I can't open a window to get rid of the reflection, so there's no way to avoid that. It's going to be there. We'll do the best we can here this evening. The bright sunshine shining in the window at us from across the field. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous night for football here tonight in Rapid City. I love this facility. As you can see across the way, there's cars parked on 3 levels. They cheer from there. They honk their horns from there. It's a great venue out here, and it's a great venue, I'm sure, for college. I've never seen a college game here, but it's a great venue for high school football as well. And there's a Philly cheesesteak truck across the way. I just want to go visit that so bad. Talk a little, eat a little, talk a little, eat a little. Sounds like a plan to me. You're listening to the Fisher Rounds and Associates pregame show. Opening kickoff comes your way in 2 minutes. Captains meeting at the middle of the field, and they will have the coin toss and the decision as to who gets the football first. I want to remind you each and every time the Arrows score, you call 886-8444, 886-8444, and on the post-game show, we will select someone who will receive a Dutch Boy soft cloth car wash, courtesy of Dutch Boy in Watertown. Also on the post-game show, we will present our McDonald's Watertown Arrow Player of the Game. Player of the Game receives a combo meal courtesy of McDonald's. I have to set my headset down in just a moment. I closed the door, but I can't keep it closed. I'm going to have to open it up. So, Rod, why don't you take one more 30-second break, and we'll be ready for the opening kickoff. Watertown won the toss, and they will defer, so the Arrows will kick off to Rapid City to get this ball game underway here this evening. Our opening kickoff being presented by Watertown Dental Care here this evening. So Watertown will kick off and play defense to open this ball game here this evening. This is an ESD matchup. These two teams both playing in 11 AAA. They only play AAA teams now. No longer play the AA teams or anybody else, just AAA, with 10 teams at the AAA level now in high school football. Bridger Nesbitt goes back deep. He's joined by Michael Norman back there and also Branson Keel back there. So 3 deep on the opening kickoff for Rapid City to get this game underway. Watertown's kicker will kick here tonight. He'll get home, get on the bus, and head for soccer, I believe, in Yankton tomorrow. Cade Rumsa. Rumsa to kick off, brought to you by Watertown Dental Care to get this ball game underway here in Rapid City. Cade awaits the official's whistle. And receives it, so we are set to go. He will approach the football and does. Cade Rumsa from the 40-yard line. Deep end-over-end kick. Michael Norman's going to let it go into the end zone for a touchback, and it'll be 1st and 10, 20-yard line. Got me now, got me now. Got me now, got me now. Hello, hello, hello. First play of the game is a quick out to the wide receiver on the right side, Nesbitt, and he'll take it from the 20 to the 30, a gain of 10 for Rapid City, and they will have it 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. He just stepped back, got the pass, and went straight up the field for 10 yards. 2 receivers come wide to the left side, now 3 to the left side, 1 to the right side for Rapid City Stevens. The Arrows have 3 down linemen. Shotgun formation for the quarterback. Takes the snap, flips again out in the flat this time, looking for blockers, breaking tackles. Across the 40 to the 45-yard line was Branson Keel on the reception. That is a gain of 15, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens at the 45-yard line. 2 plays. They've moved it 25 yards on just 2 quick passes to wide receivers with blockers in front. Trips right for Stevens, 1 receiver to the left side, 1st and 10, 45-yard line. Shotgun formation once again for the quarterback. Takes the snap, he's going to give on a handoff, nice hole, straight ahead into Arrow territory, the running back, Uriah Glenn. Glenn will get 7 on the carry, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 3. Ball in Watertown territory at the 48-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 3 for Rapid City Stevens. Wide to the ball that time by Colton Hartford to Nesbitt for 13 and a 1st down. 1st and 10 for Rapid City Stevens. They have the ball at the Watertown Arrow 35-yard line. Nesbitt goes wide to the right side, 3 to the near side. Running back directly behind the quarterback this time. Shotgun formation for Hartford. Awaits the snap from center. Takes the snap, gives to Glenn. Glenn runs into 1, breaks that tackle from Van Dusseldorf, but then Sam Strop grabs him and throws him down. Short gain of a yard on the play for Uriah Glenn. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for Stevens at the Watertown Arrow 34-yard line. This drive coming up on play number 7, started on Stevens' 20. Trips to the right side, 1 receiver to the near side, that's Keel. Shotgun formation for the quarterback. Hartford takes the snap, flips it out in the flat to Michael Norman. Norman got a good block, cuts behind a tackle, breaks that down to the 21-yard line. Penalty flags coming out all over. Might be a hold against Stevens out there. Flags are down around the 29-yard line. The official steps out and says, yes, it's a holding penalty against Stevens, so that will negate a 15-yard gain, and it will cost Stevens 10 yards. The ball stepped off, this penalty stepped off from the point of the infraction, which was the 29. So that'll take it out to the 39, where it'll be 2nd down and 14 now for Stevens at the 39. Second down and 39 for Stevens. They break their huddle. Wide to the near side comes Keel. Slot on the near side is Norman. 2 receivers to the right side as well. On second down and 14, Colton Hartford awaits the snap from center. Takes the snap, back to pass, sets his feet, looks deep down the middle. There's a man there for the Arrows. There were a bunch of guys there for the Arrows. I thought coming across the play, Peyton Johnston had a chance to pick that ball off, but he couldn't quite get there. It goes incomplete. It'll be third down and 14 for Stevens, and they have it at the Watertown 39-yard line. A lot of receivers, a lot of defenders all in the same area on that play. Third down and 14 for Stevens, 39. Arrows need to make a play here and make a stop. Probably 2-down territory for Stevens as they bring 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right side. Running back to the left shoulder of his quarterback. Slot on the left side now is Marciando. It's a rollout to the left, looking underneath. Now back across the middle. Man is there, makes the catch. Norman brought down short of the first down. Making the tackle was Lloyd. That'll be a gain of 12 and bring up a 4th down and 2. Good ball that time from the quarterback. Hartford rolling to his left and having to throw across his body and got the ball accurately to his receiver. It's 4th down and 2 at the 27-yard line of Watertown for Rapid City Stevens. 8 minutes to go, first quarter, opening drive, and Stevens coming up on play number 9, taking a long time to get it in. And what are they going to do? The clock's running. Nope, the clock should be running. Now they're counting behind, and they're going to take a timeout. So Stevens takes a timeout. We will as well. 4th and 2 when we come back in 1 minute. Stevens taking their first time out of the first half, and they face a 4th down and 2. They have it 4th down and 2. I'm not sure what's going on with my microphone here, but it's 4th down and 2 for Stevens at the Watertown Arrow 27-yard line. They line up in their formation with 2 to the left, 2 to the right, running back to the left shoulder of the quarterback. On 4th down and 2, Colton Hartford awaits the snap from center. Gets a good one, back to pass, looks, now he's rushed, he's hit and sacked. And that'll be a loss and over on downs, making the sack for the Watertown Arrows. 51, we don't even have a 51, so I can't even begin to tell you who it was. I don't know who made the sack for the Arrows. There's no 51 in our roster. At any rate, it is a sack. And it'll be a loss of 5 yards, and it'll go over on downs to the Watertown Arrows, who take over 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. I'll do some more searching and see if I can come up with who that is. At any rate, Watertown has it 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line is where they begin their possession. They line up with running backs left and right of the quarterback. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right side. New formation. Snap hit the ground. The play was broken immediately. Brett Fossum had nowhere to go, no time to go anywhere. As the line got through quickly, it'll be a loss of 3 on the opening play for the Watertown Arrows and bring up a 2nd down and 13. The offensive line for Watertown has to do a better job 51 might have been Connor Wirches. I'm thinking that maybe is who that was. 2nd down and 13. Man in motion, Evan Faulkner. He's going to get the handoff, trying to turn the corner. Broke one tackle, but not the second. Getting him was linebacker for the Stevens Raiders, Isaac Galeson, and that'll be a loss of another yard on the play and bring up a 3rd down and 14. There's my stat sheets over there. And let's see, it was Connor Wirches, is 51, who made that sack for the Watertown Arrows. 3rd down and 14 for Watertown at their own 28-yard line. Trips right, one receiver left, running back behind the quarterback. Brandon takes the snap, looks down the field, throws it deep. He's got a man wide open, Faulkner, and missed him at the 40-yard line. Evan Faulkner was uncovered. There was nobody near him. And that ball just overthrown at the 40-yard line of Stevens, incomplete, and Watertown will be forced to punt the ball. It'll be 4th down and 14 for the Watertown Arrows. Van Dusseldorp drops back to do the punting. Return man stands around the 32-yard line. I think it's Nesbitt, and it is. Bridger Nesbitt. Low snap picked up. Nice booming spiral all the way back to the 30. It hit Nesbitt. He dives on it at the 22-yard line, and that's where Stevens will start their second possession. 1st and 10 at their 22-yard line after a beautiful booming punt by Van Dusseldorp. That spiral sailed a long way, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens at their 22-yard line. We have 6:14 to go in the opening quarter. Both teams have had the ball once, and there's no score. Wide to the near side, Keel. Trips right for Stevens on 1st and 10 at their 22-yard line. Colton Hartford awaits the snap from center. Gets a good one. Turns, flips it out in the flat. Got it to Nesbitt. He didn't get a block that time. Fighting around the block was Cale Stevenson. Stevenson looked almost like he got blocked in the back, but he still was able to get around the wide receiver and make the stop for no gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Stevens at their own 22-yard line. The clocks are off in both end zones now. The 40-second clocks. 2 receivers either side. Ball on the right hash mark for Colton Hartford. He's got his running back to his left shoulder. Takes the snap back to pass. He wants to throw a screen. There's a lot of bodies there. The completion was made. A good, tough, high catch by Uriah Glenn, the running back. He was able to make the catch and get that ball in his hands and go forward for 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 6. That ball was thrown into a big crowd of folks. Mostly, though, it was Stevens Raiders linemen. 3rd down and 6 for Stevens. They have the ball 26-yard line. 2 receivers either side for Colton Hartford. Takes the snap, looks across the middle, got his man. Not sure who was guarding him, but they didn't do a very good job on that play. It's a gain of 13 on the completion to Michael Norman. And it was an easy pitch and catch. 1st and 10 for Stevens out at the 40-yard line. They're 40. Wide to the near side, Keel. He's joined by Norman. Nesbitt wide to the right side. Slot on the right side is Marciando. Snap, Colton back to pass. Throws to Marciando. Again, an easy pitch and catch there. And he's going to get 8 yards on the reception. The Arrow D-backs are playing very, very soft. And just a quick hitter that time to Marciando. And a gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2 for Stevens. They have the ball at the 48-yard line. They're 48. 2 receivers either way. Running back to the left side of the quarterback, who's had only 1 pressure, and he was sacked once. Hartford back to pass. Quick throw to the outside, and making a nice grab was Nesbitt. That'll be a gain of 7 and a 1st down. Now, that wasn't too bad a coverage. That was just a good throw. Nesbitt made a nice catch on it and a first down. It'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens at the 45-yard line of Watertown. 3:48 to go, opening quarter. Two receivers either way, running back to the right shoulder of Colton Hartford. 1st and 10 at the Arrow 45-yard line. Hartford back to pass. There's that flip to the open spot. And making the catch was the receiver. He's brought down by Sam Strop on the play, but not before he gained 9. And it's just a simple 5-yard up, throw him the ball. He makes the catch. All the defensive backs are playing soft, and he gains 9. It'll be 2nd down and 1. Two receivers to the right wide side, two to the left short side on 2nd down and 2. Colton Hartford with his running back to his left shoulder. Takes the snap, throws that ball to the out. Again, very soft coverage, as you've been hearing me say, and an easy 12 yards, 14 yards, and a first down for Stevens, that time to Keel. 1st and 10 for Stevens at the Arrow 24-yard line. They send two receivers to the right side. One of those now is Colton Doney, and a timeout going to be taken on the field by Watertown. 2:53 to go, first quarter, no score. We'll come back in 1 minute. So Watertown taking that time out. It'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens at the Arrow 24-yard line. 2:53 to go here in the first quarter. Stevens on the drive again. They have two receivers either side, running back to the left shoulder of Colton Hartford. Hartford awaits the snap, takes the snap. Blitz coming. Down across the middle, contact. Ball knocked loose, incomplete. No penalty flags come out. On the coverage was Peyton Johnston. Did a good job of knocking that ball away. It was intended for Norman. And it'll be 2nd down and 10. 2nd and 10 for Stevens at the 24-yard line of the Watertown Arrows. Peyton Johnston, a 5'10", 165-pound senior on the coverage that time. Nesbitt goes wide to the right side. Doney joins him. Two to the left side. Keel and Norman. Shotgun for Colton Hartford on 2nd and 10. Takes a low snap. Sets. Pump fakes. Now he's going to run with the ball. He's going to be hit. Breaks a tackle. Pulls his way. Nice gain of 7 on the quarterback keeper that time. Brings up a 3rd down and 3. Third down and 3 for Stevens at the Arrow 17-yard line. They've got to get to the 14 for a first down. We have 2:18 to go here in the first quarter, no score. This drive coming up on play 10, started on Stevens 22. Trips right for Stevens. They like to step a receiver back and have two blockers ahead of him in this formation. Takes the snap, gives to a running back straight ahead, bowls his way down to the 10-yard line. On the carry was Philip Walls, and Walls gains 7 and a first down for Stevens. The ball across the 10-yard line, so it'll be 1st and goal for Stevens just inside the Watertown 10-yard line. Good push by the offensive line. Nesbitt and Doney go wide to the right side. Keel and Norman wide to the left side. Philip Walls stays in at running back. Colton Hartford directing a little traffic. Takes the snap, gives to Walls, runs hard, gets down to the 5. A gain of 5 on the carry for Phillip Walls, running behind his big lineman, 260 and 265 over there on the right side. Second and goal at the 5-yard line for Stevens. Play number 12 of the drive, starting on their 22. They are well over 100 yards of offense in this first quarter. The Arrows have a -4. We're down to 1 minute to go. 2 receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Running back is Uriah Glenn now to the left shoulder of Colton Hartford. Glenn takes the snap. He's hit immediately, pulls forward. Brett Fossum got in there and made the initial hit. He was able to pull forward for a yard, and that brings up a 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line. Good read by the linebacker, Brett Fossum, coming around the left side to make the initial hit. 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line for Stevens. Doney and Nesbitt wide to the right side. Near side, Keel and Norman. Running back Uriah Glenn to the right shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. Arrows obviously playing tighter here at the end zone. Motion left to right, Norman. Picked up well. Good job by Fossum. Good scramble by Colton Hartford. Throws it towards the end of the end zone. Out of the end zone, incomplete. That play was made by Brett Fossum that time. What they wanted to do is run Norman in motion left to right and flip the ball out into the flat to him. Brett Fossum read that beautifully. He got out there and covered that play, and then it became a scramble for Colton Hartford. It's 4th down and 4 for Stevens at the Arrow 4-yard line, and there's 6 seconds on the clock here in the first quarter. 2 straight nice plays by Brett Fossum to make the tackle on the first one and then read that play and make it a non-play for Stevens. 2 receivers either side. Uriah Glenn shifts from right to left. Colton Hartford takes the snap, sets his feet, throws the slant, knocked down beautifully. Great coverage. It was intended for Nesbitt. An arrow down on the play, I believe. And that's Evan Faulkner, who I think made the play, and Evan down on the field. It goes incomplete. It goes over on downs once again to the Watertown Arrows, and the Arrows will have it 1st and 10 starting at their 4-yard line. Evan Faulkner made the defensive play reaching around the receiver. I don't know if he collided with somebody then, but he is up and talking to the trainers and to the coaching staff of the Watertown Arrows, and he'll walk off with some help from his head coach, pats him on the back saying, "I'm okay." 2 seconds to go in the first quarter, and the Arrows twice have stopped long drives by Stevens, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 4. Now the trainer's going to run over to the other side and continue to check on Evan Faulkner as he walks to the sideline with Coach John Hodorf and takes off his helmet over there. I'm sure they'll check him out. Concussion protocol. Van Dusseldorp and Mason Lloyd wide to the left side. Wide to the near side comes Schmidt, and he is joined out here by Wyatt Berner now. 1st and 10, everybody coming for Stevens at the 4-yard line. Now the linebackers drop back. Brandon Smith flips one out to Wyatt Berner. Berner going to get across the 5 to the 6 or 7, but penalty flags fly into the pile, and I'm guessing it might have been a hold on the Watertown Arrows down there. The official steps out and says illegal block for the Watertown Arrow linemen. And that will either be half the distance to the goal or they'll take the play. We'll watch. We can't go to break until they make a decision. And what are they going to do? If they take the penalty, it'll be half the distance of the goal to the goal. If they refuse it, then it'll be a 2nd down at the 7-yard line. They flip the ball to the official. He's going to step at half the distance to the goal, so it'll be a 2-yard penalty on Watertown. The Arrows will have it 1st and 10 to start the second quarter when we come back in 1 minute. Game stats brought to you by Pregame Insurance. Rapid City Stevens, 128 yards of offense in the first quarter. The Arrows a -4. 1st and 10, Arrows at their own 2-yard line. Brandon Smith takes the snap, gives to Fossum, the running back, and he is grabbed and pulled back. It's a loss of a yard on the play, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 13 for the Watertown Arrows. So the Arrows now with a -5 yards of offense so far here in this first half. So now it is 2nd and 13 at the 1-yard line. Brandon lines up about 5 yards deep. Brett Fossum behind him. Brandon awaits the snap, takes the snap, looks, flips it underneath, intended for Lloyd, but bounced it to him. Mason Lloyd was just turning around. He was going to be open, but the ball got there quick and it bounced at his feet. So now it is 3rd down and 13 for the Watertown Arrows at the 1-yard line, their own 1. Arrows line up no huddle. They have 2 receivers either side, looking at the armbands. Brett Fossum behind Brandon Smith. 3rd down and 13. Everybody up on their feet, bouncing around. Taking the snap, Brandon sets his feet, flips it into the hands of a linebacker for a pick-6 touchdown. Right into the hands of Jacob DeSmet. DeSmet with the interception, and he runs it 6 yards for the touchdown, and Stevens goes on top by a score of 6-0 with 11:15 to go here in quarter number 2. Stevens will try to tack on the point after here. The kicker for Stevens is Zach Whitesell. The holder is Joe Weber. Weber kneels at the 10-yard line, awaits the snap. Snap is good, sets down, kick is up, looks like it goes off to the left, no good. So we have 11:15 to go in the first half. 6-0 Raiders. They'll kick to the Arrows when we come back in 30. Linebacker Jacob DeSmet with the interception and return 6 yards for the touchdown. Point after, no good. 6-0 lead for Stevens with 11:15 to go here in quarter number 2. So the Raiders will kick to the Watertown Arrows now. Evan Faulkner back on the field. He is back deep for Watertown. He's joined back there by Peyton Johnston. Whitesell, the kicker, has the ball squarely in the center of the field at the 40-yard line. Whitesell approaches the ball, puts the leg to it. It's a bounding kick. It's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. And Watertown will start 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. The Arrows in this first half with a -5 yards of offense total in the first half so far. 1st and 10, Watertown 20-yard line is where they will begin this drive. Trailing now 6-0 with 11:15 to go in the first half of play. Watertown at home for homecoming next week against Rapid City Central. Wide receiver wide to the right side, nobody covering him out there. And now they switch, and they do. Brandon Smith has 2 receivers to the left, a wingback on the left. 1 receiver right, slaps his hands, gets the snap, gives to Brett Fossum. He's hit immediately by a linebacker, and he goes nowhere but backwards once again. As getting through was Isaac Galeson making the stop, a loss of another yard on the play for Brett Fossum. as the Arrow offensive line so far in this game doing absolutely nothing. They are not able to stop or even slow down Stevens up front and their linebackers. 2nd down and 11. Trips left for Watertown. One receiver to the right side. Brandon, shotgun formation. Fossum behind him. Awaits the snap. Slaps his hands. Takes it. Going to give to Fossum again. This time a little bit of a hole over the right side. Brett runs hard. He'll get 4 yards on the carry. And that gets the Arrows closer to positive yards, but still a -2 total offense here in the first half. It'll be 3rd down and 7 for Watertown. The ball down at the 23-yard line. 10-10 to go in the first half. Stevens leading 6-0 on an interception return for a touchdown. Trips left. Wide to the left is Van Dusseldorp. Wide to the right side is Parker Schmidt. The Arrow receivers had a tough time getting open a week ago and kind of having the same trouble here. Brandon gets rushed. No chance. He had no time to do anything, and he was sacked on the play. Getting through there to make the sack was linebacker Brock Myers all the way back at the 15-yard line. That'll be a loss of 7 on the play and brings up 4th down for Watertown. Brandon had no time to even set his feet that time, and he was hit and knocked down. Nesbitt back to receive this punt from Van Dusseldorp. Van Dusseldorp stands around the 1-yard line. Gets a bounce snap, picks it up, low end over end kick. It's going to bound at the 35. It's going to go to the 40 and die right at the 40-yard line. So Stevens with great field position. They will have it 1st and 10 at Watertown's 40-yard line. Stevens leading by a score of 6-0 with 9:06 to go here in the first half of play. Live audio and video stream on our website at gowatertown.net. Brought to you by Sharp Automotive. Wide to the left side goes Keel. Nesbitt comes wide to the right side. Joined out here by Marciando and another slot receiver as well. Colton Hartford takes the snap, rolls to his right, looks in the flat, flips it to the second receiver, makes the catch to the 30-yard line. Mason Lloyd on the coverage. Marciando made the stop, and it's down to the 30-yard line. 29, a gain of 11 on the pass completion. Good time, good rollout, good ball. Wide left goes Keel, joined out there wide to the left side by Trokamoinen. 2 receivers right, running back to the left shoulder of Hartford. 1st down, Arrow 29. Uriah Glenn shifts left to right. Back to passes Hartford. Looks, now he's going to run. Got some running room, 25. Hit and brought down at the 20-yard line. Making an open field tackle was Brett Fossum, but a gain of 9 on the carry for the quarterback. Brings up a 2nd down and 1 for Stevens at the 20-yard line of Watertown. Second down and 1 down around the 20-yard line of the Arrows for Stevens. They line up 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Uriah Glenn to the left shoulder of Hartford takes the snap, gives to Uriah. Nice hole over the right side. Brett Fossum makes another hit, but not before a gain of 5 on the play. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens down around the 14-yard line. 1st and 10, Stevens at the 14. 3rd time they've been down in Watertown territory. The first 2 possessions turned it over on downs. 2 receivers to the left side, now trips to the left. Norman wide to the right side. Now a little confusion. Norman's going to line up trips to the left. 1 receiver coming wide to the right is Trokamoinen, and Stevens is going to take a timeout. 7.5 to go first half. They lead 6-0. We'll come back with more from Rapid in 60. First and 10, Stevens at the Arrow 14-yard line, and it is motion with Norman right to left. He gets the handoff. He runs into one, breaks that tackle, runs into a second, and can't break that second tackle, and the Arrows bring him down. Sam Strop made the final stop. It'll be a loss of a yard on the play that time. The initial play made by a defensive lineman on the right side, and I'm sorry I couldn't pick him up who that was, but he turned the play back in, and then Sam Strop able to make the stop. So it'll be second down and 11 now around the 15-yard line for Stevens, almost the 16. Two receivers to the left. Nesbitt and Norman come wide to the right. Phillip Walls, the running back, right shoulder of the quarterback. Colton Hartford. Second down and 11. Hartford takes the snap, rolls right. Sets his feet, throws towards the end zone, but overshoots his intended receiver that time. Norman incomplete. It'll be third down and 11 after the incomplete pass. 6:38 to go here in the first half of play. It is 6-0 Stevens leading the ball game. Whistle and a stoppage of play. A warning, I think. No, a penalty against Stevens as their bench was where they were not supposed to be. So I think it's a warning the first time. The players were across a line that they're supposed to stay behind. So there was a penalty flag thrown and a warning given. The next one results in a penalty. Third down and 11. Trips left for Stevens. Nesbitt wide to the right side. Soft coverage on Nesbitt. Now Falconer walking up a little bit. Colton Hartford awaits the snap. Takes the snap. Looks. Flips it out in the flat. There's a man there. Oh, Cale Stevenson read that play all the way. Cale saw that coming. It was intended for Sam Marciando. Cale read it all the way, and the ball went through his hands, or he had a lot of turf to run down the field if he makes that catch. So it'll be fourth down and 11 for Stevens. They have the ball at the 16-yard line of the Watertown Arrows. Stevens leading 6-0 with 6:33 to go in the first half. Two receivers to the left side. Nesbitt and Norman come wide to the right side. Phillip Walls, the running back. Colton Hartford on fourth down and 11. Takes the snap, rolls right. Pressure coming. Throws towards the end zone. Touchdown. And that goes to Norman. So that was on fourth down and 11. It goes 16 yards from Hartford to Norman for the touchdown, and Stevens goes up 12-0. 6:28 to go in the first half. Stevens will try to tack on a point after here. Whitesell will try to do that. Nice rollout. Nesbitt went short. Norman went to the end zone, came across, and he was open and made the catch. Weber to hold, sets down. Kick is up, and it looks good, and it is. So we have 6:28 to go first half, 13-0 Raiders. They'll kick to the Arrows in 30. Seven-play, 40-yard drive for Stevens. The Arrows had them fourth and 11, but Stevens scores a 16-yard touchdown on fourth and 11 and lead by a 13-0 score. Peyton Johnston and Evan Faulkner back to receive this kick from Whitesell. Whitesell receives the official's whistle, approaches the ball, puts the leg to it, a high, short kick. Johnston from the 10. Johnston straight ahead 15. Cuts back 20. Puts on the speed 25. Across the 30 and gets the 34-yard line. Still on his feet. and gets the 35-yard line. Nice return by Peyton Johnston, and the Arrows will start 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line, a 25-yard return for Peyton Johnston. 1st and 10 Arrows at their 35. The Arrows still minus yards in the first half. -5, -12. They're at -9 yards in the first half. The Arrows send 3 receivers to the left side. One of those out here is Max Roble. 1 receiver to the right side. Smith has had no time to operate. Brandon awaits the snap. Brandon slaps his hands, takes the snap, flips it out in the flat. Got his man, Evan Faulkner, sidestepped 1, and then I think Roble's going to get called for a holding penalty out here. Would have been a gain of about 2 on the play. Finally bringing him down was Isaac Galeson, but it's going to be a hold against the wide receiver out here. That'll be stepped off from the 34 back to the 24-yard line. And they haven't stepped it off yet, but now do. From the 34 back to the 24. So that will bring up a 1st and 21 for the Watertown Arrows. The Arrows have to get to the 45. And if my Britain math serves me correctly, it is 1st and 21. 3 receivers left for the Arrows. 1 way wide to the right with single coverage out there. Brandon sees linebackers coming from the left side. He started a little quick, got the handoff to Brett Fossum. Fossum across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Gain of 3 on the carry for Brett Fossum. They ran away from the blitzing linebacker coming on the left side. It'll bring up 2nd down and 18 for Watertown. 5:48 to go here in the first half. 13-0 in favor of Stevens. The Arrows line up trips to the right side this time. Max Roble wide to the left side all by himself. Fossum behind Brandon Smith. 2nd down and 18 for the Arrows. 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers for Stevens. Brandon slaps his hands, takes the snap. Little protection this time, flips it to Evan. Evan had the ball and then had it knocked out of his hands as he didn't secure it. And it was knocked out of his hands by Justin Junial on the coverage, or was that Hartford? I'm not sure. 6 or 8. Can't really tell, but at any rate, it was knocked down nicely by the defense, and I think it was Hartford. Colton Hartford knocked it down. It was a good ball that time by Brandon. It was in the hands of Evan Faulkner, but he didn't secure it, and Colton Hartford able to knock it away. So it'll be 3rd down and 18 for Watertown. They have the ball at the 26-yard line. Trips right, 1 to the left. Blitz coming left side. Brandon had it picked up, heaves it down the right side, but overshoots Evan Faulkner out around the 40-yard line. Good job of picking up the blitz, but nobody open, and he just heaved it down the right sideline, and Evan couldn't run under it, incomplete, and the Arrows will be forced to punt once again. So it'll be 4th down and 18 for Watertown. The ball at the 27-yard line. Van Dusseldorp drops back to punt once again. Jacob stands around his 24. The first 2 snaps to him were bounced. This snap a little bit better. He bobbled it, got the punt away. High punt coming to the left side. Going to bound and roll inside the 45. Nice roll inside the 40 all the way to the 35. So the Arrows get a favorable roll on the play. And it'll be 1st and 10, Stevens at their 35-yard line. Stevens leading 13-0 with 4:57 to go here in the first half of play. And they have the ball 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. Oh, the Arrows got a personal foul. I didn't see the flag. So don't know what it was for, but I'm guessing extracurriculars after the play. So instead of 1st and 10 at the 35, now it's 1st and 10 at the 50. So not a good play by the Watertown Arrows when they're already down 13-0. Two receivers either way. Phillip Walls, left shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. Colton awaits the snap, takes it, back to pass, flips a quick one. Nice catch made, Nesbitt. Evan Faulkner was closing, but Nesbitt still made the catch. A gain of 7 on the pass completion. Not bad coverage by Evan that time, but the ball zipped by his hand and into the hands of Nesbitt. 2nd down and 3 for Stevens at the Arrow 43. Two receivers left, two to the right. Ball on the right hash mark. Running back left shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. 2nd down and 3. Colton takes the snap, sets. Pump fakes, going down the left side. He's got Nesbitt behind the defender. Can't quite make the catch. He beat Evan Faulkner. There was a pump fake. Evan holding his hands out like he thought he had help, but he didn't. The ball just overthrown at the goal line. Nesbitt couldn't quite run under it. It goes incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down and 3 for Stevens. The ball at the 43-yard line. They lead 13-0 with 4:14 to go in the first half. Two receivers either side. Phillip Walls lines up as a running back, right shoulder of the quarterback. Colton Hartford on 3rd down and 3, awaits the snap, takes the snap, pump fakes, throws it out in the flat, but threw it too quick. It was a timing route intended out there for Branson Keel. He threw the ball before Keel had planted and cut. Keel was able to get his hands on it, but could not pull it in, and it goes incomplete. The Stevens Raiders are going to go for it on 4th down and 3 at Watertown's 43. And no reason not to. The Arrows haven't moved the ball positive yards the whole first half, so even if they don't get it, the defense has been stout against the Arrows, and if they do, they keep the drive alive. 4th down and 3, Stevens at the Arrow 43. Two receivers either side, Walls to the right shoulder of the quarterback. Colton Hartford awaits the snap, takes the snap, flips it out in the flat, missed his receiver Nesbitt. A little bit of pressure put on that time by Watertown's Ben Burry. Ben had his jersey grabbed, and there was no penalty called. He had his shoulder pad pulled open, but it goes incomplete, and once again over on downs from Stevens to Watertown, and that has happened now 3 times in this ball game where they have turned it over on downs to the Watertown Arrows. So the Arrows have it 1st and 10. And the Arrows have it at their 43-yard line. Watertown with no positive yards yet in the first half of play. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Arrows at the 43. They have trips right, one receiver to the left side. Brandon Smith has a man in motion. Mason Lloyd gives him the handoff. He cuts up. There's some positive yards. Mason able to make positive yards before he's brought down by Norman on the play. That's a gain of about 5. And it'll bring up a 2nd down and 5 for the Watertown Arrows at the 47-yard line. Clock stopped with 4 minutes to go in the first half of play, and the Arrows trailing by a 13-0 score. Schmidt wide to the left side, 3 receivers to the right side. Closest to the formation is Mason Lloyd. Stevens with 4 down linemen, a couple of linebackers, actually 3. One coming on a blitz, the right side. Throw on a slant, got it to Schmidt. That'll be the first down of the ball game for the Arrows. That'll be a gain of 9 on the slant from Brandon to Schmidt. And a 1st down for the Watertown Arrows. Dawson Schmidt, a junior, made the reception. 1st and 10 Arrows, 43-yard line of the Stevens Raiders. Blitz was coming on the right side that time. Jacob DeSmet, the play behind that for a 1st down. Trips right for Stevens, 1 receiver left. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. Brandon slaps his hands, takes the snap. He'll give to Fossum. Big hole. Fossum 40, steps outside. Oh, now a penalty going to come on Dawson Schmidt. So that play is coming back as they're going to call Dawson Schmidt for a holding penalty at the 35-yard line. So that negates a nice gain by the Arrows, and a penalty steps them back 10 yards from the point of the infraction, which was the 35, and it'll bring up a 1st and 13 for Watertown at the 45-yard line. 3:36 to go here in the first half of play. It's 13-0 in favor of Stevens. The Arrows have it 1st and 13 at the 45-yard line. Dawson Schmidt wide to the left side, 3 to the right side. Running back behind the quarterback, Brandon Smith, 4 down linemen. Brandon has a man in motion. Mason Lloyd fakes it to him, tries to throw the slant. He was hit by a blitzing linebacker as he did, and that was Brock Myers getting in there. That ball fluttered, incomplete. Good pressure by Brock Myers, as the Arrows have not been able to pick up the blitz very often in this ball game. So it'll be 2nd down and 13 for the Arrows at the 45 of Stevens. 3:32 to go first half. Raiders lead 13-0. Arrows have 2 receivers either way. Brett Fossum behind the quarterback. Brandon on 2nd down and 13. Blitz coming again. Brandon takes the snap. Fossum picks up the blitz. Ball flutters. Caught and made by Dawson Schmidt, and they're going to say his foot was inbounds. Oh, no, then they wave it off at the end. He runs down the field like it's a catch, and then he changes his mind and waves it off. The chains were already moving because the official was making the catch indication, and then he changed his mind, and now they'll have to reset the chains. And the chains are being reset in the wrong place. The officials are setting the chains in the wrong place. It should be 3rd down and 13, and they've got the chain set in the wrong place. Now they make it. So it'll be 3rd down and 13 once they get them set and corrected here. The Arrow coaching staff not happy on the sideline. So it'll be 3rd down and 13. Trips right, 1 receiver left. Brandon Smith awaits the snap, slaps his hands, takes it, sets his feet, throws it deep down the left side again. Trying to make the adjustment on the play was Dawson Schmidt. Good coverage out here by the defensive back on the right side, Jacob Hafner. Both players kind of pushing and banging, but both had a right to the football, and it goes incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 13 for Watertown, and the Arrow coaching staff still giving it to the officials on the far side. Unfortunately, they weren't the ones that made the call. It was the official over here on Stevens' side that made the call. But the other official is the one who's been getting the earful over there. So it'll be 4th down and 13. Van Dusseldorp waiting for one more guy to come out onto the field, and he finally does. Again, the snaps have not been real good here. Van Dusseldorp gets a decent snap, quick punt off balance, and a fair catch called for, fumbled, and the Arrows recover the ball. Norman fumbled, muffed the punt, and the Arrows recover it, and that was Hunter Wagee. Hunter Wagee recovers the muffed punt by Norman, and Wagee was the guy who was late coming out on the field, but once he got out there, he makes the play, and the Arrows will have the ball 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line of Stevens after the muff punt. 1st and 10, Watertown, 31-yard line. 3:12 to go here in the first half of play. Arrows jog into the line of scrimmage from the sideline and taking their time. Trips right, 1 to the left side. Brandon awaits the snap, takes it. Blitz coming again. Handoff to Fossum. Steps around the blitzer. Fossum goes forward for a couple of yards on the carry. Brings up a 2nd down and 8 for Watertown, 29-yard line. Stevens blitzing linebackers on just about every play. Different ones coming from different angles and different places. So it'll be 2nd and 8 for the Arrows. 29-yard line is where Watertown has it in Stevens territory. Trips to the right, 1 to the left side. Brandon has Fossum behind him. Double coverage now on Dawson Schmidt out here on the left side. Brandon slaps his hands, fakes, flips it out in the flat to Evan. Evan got away from one tackler. Evan runs down the right side. He will gain 4 yards on the carry, and that'll be a positive gain for the Arrows and bring up a 3rd and 4 from the 25-yard line with 2:10 to go here in the first half of play. Evan able to avoid a player coming at him hard, and he sidestepped him and got away from him. So now it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Arrows at the 25. Brandon Smith trips left, 1 to the right. Blitz coming right, sets his feet, throws across the middle, got his man. And that'll be inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. Dawson Schmidt on the catch. That'll be a gain of 11 and a first down for Watertown, and bring up a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line of Stevens for the Watertown Arrows. Arrows have timeouts remaining, clock running down to 1.5 minutes. Watertown has 2 timeouts remaining. Trips left, 1 to the right side for the Arrows. 1st and 10, 14-yard line. Brandon slaps his hands, low snap, picks it up. Now he flips it. Timing all off on that play. It might have been a good play had the timing been there. It was a wide receiver screen to Dawson Schmidt, but the ball bounced and Brandon picked it up. And then when he threw it, he didn't have a good grip on the ball, and it just wasn't a very good ball, and it went incomplete. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Arrows at the 14-yard line with 1:13 on the clock. Arrows trailing 13-0. Trying to get some points here before halftime. Trips left, 1 to the right. 4 down linemen. Blitz looks like it's coming left side. Brandon gets another low snap. Sets, throws it in the back of the end zone. The D-back runs into, the one official was waving it off, incomplete. The other official threw his flag, and then the official that was waving it off incomplete decided to throw his too. It was an obvious pass interference on the play. So it'll be stepped off from the 14-yard line, and it'll go to the 7-yard line as it's half the distance to the goal. And it'll bring up second down and 2 for Watertown. 2 receivers either way for the Arrows. Linebackers tight to the line. Man in motion, Mason Lloyd. Fakes the handoff slant to Dawson, threw it behind him, and Dawson went up and had his feet cut out from underneath of him. And when he hit the ground, the ball popped loose, incomplete. The ball thrown a little bit behind him, too. Had that been on his hands, it would have been a touchdown, but it was just enough behind him that he couldn't pull it in. And then when he got hit low and hit the ground, the ball popped loose. 3rd down and 2 for the Arrows at the 7-yard line. Got to get it across the 5 to get 1st and goal. Arrows have 2 timeouts remaining, 1:03 to go in the first half, 13-0 Stevens. A lot of men on the line of scrimmage. It looks like the old O'Gorman defense where everybody's standing. They're all coming. Brandon throws the slant again. Knocked down this time by a defensive lineman on the left side. Wesley Folsom knocked that ball down as the Arrows were trying that slant once again. It was the old O'Gorman defense there where everybody stands and moves around. And good job by the defensive end on the left side, Folsom, to get his hand on the ball and knock it down. So the Arrows look like they're going to try a field goal here. Cade Rumpsa will kick the ball. Brandon Schmidt will be the holder. They back it out to the 15, so this will be a 25-yard field goal try for Cade Rumpsa. Brandon awaits the snap. Penalty on the Watertown Arrows, as that'll be a delay of game penalty on Watertown and cost them 5. Or did the Arrows get a timeout first? They must have got a timeout first. A minute to go here in the first half. It is 13-0 Stevens. We'll come back in 1 minute. Arrows changed their mind. They're going to go for it on 4th down and 4. Man in motion. Brandon throws it to the corner of the end zone. Receiver there makes the catch. Touchdown, Dawson. Oh, they say he was out of bounds. So it was not a touchdown. Dawson came down out of bounds on the play. Good ball by Brandon. Or maybe the ball hit the ground. I'm not sure. The official just knelt in the white area in the end zone and tapped the ground, so maybe it just went incomplete. It was either incomplete or he was out of bounds. I'm not sure which, but it goes over on downs to Stevens, and they will have it 1st and 10 at the Arrows 6-yard line. And the Arrows don't have the defense set at all. They need to take a timeout. The Arrows have to take a timeout, and they do, because they only had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guys on the field, and none of them ready to play defense, so the Arrows take time. 54 seconds to go in the first half. 13-0 Stevens. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 7 when we come back in 30 seconds. Stevens has it 1st and 10 at their 7-yard line. Arrows taking their last timeout. They've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It looks like maybe they got 11 guys out there now. 2 receivers either way. Handoff running right, Uriah Glenn. Glenn cuts back against the grain. Glenn still on his feet, battles his way across the 15 to the 17. That is a gain of 10 on the carry by Uriah Glenn and stops the clock to move the chains. Give him 11 as he gets it out to, 10, out to the 17. Clock at 40 seconds to go in the first half. Arrows trailing 13-0. 2 receivers to the left side, 2 receivers to the right side. Uriah Glenn to the left shoulder of his quarterback. Colton Hartford awaits the snap on 1st down, takes the snap, he sets. Now he's going to run with the ball. He runs into the defense, grabbed there and thrown down on the play. Making the stop for the Arrows was Tyler Dean, a loss of a couple of yards. 9 seconds to go, and that's going to do it for the first half of play. We are at halftime of this first game of 2 at the Rushmore Bowl in Rapid City. Stevens 13, Watertown 0. Let's take a 3-minute timeout. We are at halftime of this ball game. It is 13-0. Halftime show brought to you by the Hometown Building Center on KWAT's coverage of Watertown Arrow football here tonight. Here's how things went. Stevens got the ball to start the first half of play. They put together a nice 9-play drive that stalled on Watertown's 32 on a sack by Colton Wirchis on fourth down. The Arrows then went 3 plays and punt. Stevens took over on their 22. They put together a 14-play drive, drove all the way to the Arrow 4-yard line, and once again turned it over on downs. The Arrows then had a penalty for 2 yards, a loss of a yard, threw an incomplete pass, and then an interception at the 6-yard line by linebacker Jacob DeSmet. He took it in for the score, and just into the second quarter, the point after was no good. 6-0 in favor of Rapid City Stevens. The Arrows on their third possession, they went 3 plays and punt. For the Stevens, they took over on Watertown's 40-yard line. The Arrows had them 4th down and 11 at the 16. They completed a pass, though, for a touchdown, tacked on the point after, and 6:28 to go in the first half, led 13-0. The Arrows then went 3 plays and punt. Stevens turned it over on downs on 4 plays. The Arrows put together their first down of the first half and then threw 3 straight incomplete passes. They punted the ball. The punt was muffed by Michael Norman and recovered by the Arrows' Hunter Wagee, and the Arrows were in business at Stevens 31. The Arrows looked like they had a couple of touchdowns, but the ball jarred loose from Dawson Schmidt on one at the goal line, and then one in the end zone was either out of bounds on the far side or it was dropped by Parker Schmidt over there. It was on the far side, so I couldn't tell. I just saw the back judge kneel down and pound on the ground, so I'm not sure if he was indicating he was out of bounds on the white or if it was an incomplete pass, but that was on 4th down. The Arrows turned it over on downs then. Stevens ran a couple of plays, and we are at halftime. 13-0. Stevens leading Watertown here at halftime. Game 1 of 2 of this 27th annual Rushmore Bowl. And the cold air has arrived here. All of a sudden, there's some very cool air blowing in here. So I'm not sure where it came from, but it has arrived. Halftime being brought to you by the Hometown Building Center. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and check statistics for you. And we'll do that in 3 minutes. Welcome back to Rapid City. Halftime show being brought to you by the Hometown Building Center. Statistics brought to you by Pregame Insurance. For Rapid City, they rushed the ball 12 times for 44 yards. Uriah Glenn, 5 carries for 24. Phillip Walls had 2 carries for 12. Colton Hartford, the quarterback, 4 carries for 9. And Michael Norman had 1 carry for a -1. 12 rushes, 44 yards rushing first half for Stevens. They passed the ball, though, 24 times, completed 14 of those for 139 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's 36 offensive plays for Stevens for 183 yards. A lot of those completions coming early in the game when they were throwing just little quick 5-yard passes to receivers, and the Arrows were playing soft defensively, and Stevens turned that into some decent yards, but they were 14 of 24 for 139 and 1 touchdown. The other touchdown scored by Jacob DeSmet, intercepted a ball at the Arrow 6-yard line, returned it for the score. The point after on that one was no good, and that's why it's 13-0 here at halftime. Watertown rushed the ball 9 times in the first half for 1 yard as Brett Fossum had 6 carries for 4 yards. Evan Faulkner, 1 carry for a -1. Mason Lloyd had 1 carry for 5 yards. And Brandon Schmidt, 1 carry for a -7. He was sacked 1 time. So 9 rushes, 1 yard rushing for the Arrows in the first half. Passing, the Arrows just 3 of 13, those all coming towards the end of the half. 3 of 13 for 24 yards and 1 interception for Brandon Schmidt. 22 offensive plays for the Arrows, 14 less than Stevens, and the Arrows only had 25 yards of offense in the first half of play. So, receiving-wise, Dawson Schmidt had 2 catches for 20. Evan Faulkner had 1 catch for 5. 183 yards of offense for Stevens, 25 yards of offense for the Watertown Arrows. Stevens leading here at halftime by a score of 13-0. Statistics brought to you by Pregame Insurance. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with more from Rapid City in 3 minutes. Welcome back to Rapid City. Looks like we are just about ready for the start of the second half. A lot of times they put 3 minutes back on the clock. So maybe they'll do that, but they're running it down right now to 5 seconds. And they put 3 more minutes on the clock. So they are putting the mandatory 3 minutes on the clock. So it'll be 3 minutes before we start the second half. So halftime brought to you by the Hometown Building Center. Let's take one more break. We'll come back with the second half of action here tonight at the 27th Annual Rushmore Bowl. First game in 2 minutes. Insurance today, 886-9043, online at insurance.com. Ramcoda Hotel is the perfect hotel to stay at while visiting for conventions and events, and is the only full-service hotel property in Watertown. Minerva is also provided for your convenience at the Ramcoda. While staying at the hotel, guests can enjoy an indoor heated pool, hot tub, exercise facility, cocktail lounge, business center, and full-service meeting and banquet facilities, accommodating up to 1,600. Call today to find out more. The Ramcoda, 886-8011.
Gather means to come together or assemble. Hey, this is your friend Angie from Gather. Whether it's friends talking over coffee, students reading while snacking and sipping smoothies, or business people brainstorming over muffins and lattes, Gather Coffee Eats and Gifts in downtown Watertown brings people together. Come in, sit, and enjoy our spacious coffee shop with free Wi-Fi and friendly baristas that will exceed your expectations. Gather, 122 East Kemp Avenue in downtown Watertown.
If all you want is a sip of water at the kitchen sink, any filter will do. I want better water in the laundry, better water in the bathroom, better water at every tap, in every room for everyone in my home, every time, everywhere I use water, every day. So I got a whole home filtration system from Culligan. Now I ask you, how long will it take for you to call the Culligan Man?
Hey, Culligan Man.
I'm Jason Hansen, your local Culligan Man in Watertown. Call us today at 886-4830.
Welcome back to Rapid City as we get set for the second half of action here this evening as Rapid leads 13-0 here at halftime. Peyton Johnston back deep, joined back there by Evan Faulkner to start the second half. Whitesell will kick it off from the 40-yard line. And we are just about set for the second half of action here tonight. First game of 2, the second one featuring Aberdeen Central and Rapid City Central in that second game tonight. Whitesell set to kick it off at the 40-yard line, receives the official's whistle. And he approaches the ball, puts the leg to it, end over end, running up on it. Peyton Johnston, 15. He's to the 20, runs to the right. Cuts back, slips, and goes down at the 25-yard line. Brought down on the play that time by, well, they don't have a 30. It's 38 maybe. Luke Choilis making the stop there. It'll be 1st and 10 Watertown, and the Arrows will start at their 25-yard line. Ball on the right hash mark, 1st and 10, 25-yard line for the Watertown Arrows. As they come from the sideline with the play. The Arrows are going to line up with one receiver to the left side, Dawson Schmidt. 2 receivers to the right side and a wing on the right side as well. Brandon awaits the snap, takes it. He's going to option, pitch it to Fossum, but read very well by the linebacking crew. They've got good linebackers, do the Stevens Raiders, and getting in there was Jacob DeSmet. That'd be a loss of 4 on the play. And bring up a 2nd down and 14 at the 21-yard line. Arrows with 3 receivers to the right, 1 receiver to the left side. Fossum behind the quarterback, Brandon Smith On second down and 14-21. Brandon awaits the snap, slaps the hands, back to pass, blitz coming or rush coming up the middle by a lineman, and he got in there and just put the pop on James Vandervorst, came untouched, and he gets the sack on Brandon Smith. Not sure whose responsibility that was, but they didn't execute it, and the loss is all the way back to the 14-yard line. So that's a loss of 7. And it'll be third down and 21 for Watertown at their own 14-yard line. Vandervorst came untouched that time. Third down and 21. Brandon Smith awaits the snap. Blitz coming right side. You can see it. And it's picked up this time, but nobody picked up Vandervorst. And then there were two other guys waiting to get Brandon Smith, and they did. One of those, Isaac Galeson, a linebacker. The other one, a linebacker as well, in Meyer. And again, Brandon had no chance as they were just coming full speed ahead. Loss all the way back to the 5-yard line. And that makes it a fourth down and 30. Watertown having to punt from the back of their own end zone. The snapping has not been very good. This one's a little better. Punt is away. Line drive punt. They got it away from Nesbitt. It bounces back against the grain and stopped by the Arrows around the 35, 37-yard line. So that is a 2-yard change of possession punt for the Watertown Arrows. And Stevens will have it. First and 10 at Watertown's 37-yard line. Stevens leading by a score of 13-0. They break their huddle, and they send 3 receivers to the left side, 1 to the right side. A late Arrow lineman getting in there. Running back to the right shoulder of Hartford. Blitz coming from the Arrows' left side. Flip out into the flat, trying to one-hand at that time was Branson Keel, and he could not pull it in incomplete. Brings up a 2nd and 10 for Stevens. They've thrown the ball 25 times in the ball game already. The Arrows have thrown it 13 times. 13-0, Stevens on top. They have it second down and 10 at the Arrow 34. 2 receivers to the left side, now 3 to the left side, 1 to the right side. Colton Hartford on second down and 10, running back to his right shoulder, takes the snap, pump fakes, goes down the left side, man wide open. That's Norman, makes the catch, and touchdown. Pump fake to the outside, the Arrows bit, and that goes as a 37-yard touchdown. Nice ball that time from Hartford to Norman. And Stephen goes up on top by a score of 19-0. 9:30 to go in the third quarter. They pump fake to that out again, and Norman went straight up the field, and the Arrows bit on the pump fake, and Norman got behind him and made the catch. Lloyd brought him, got caught up with him, but he carried him into the end zone. Point after attempt. Weber to hold, sets down, kick is up, and it is through the uprights. So we have 9:30 to go in the game. Raiders 20, Arrows nothing. Raiders kick when we come back in 30.
Since 1989, the Dutch Boy has been your local car wash, gas station, and convenience store. Hi, I'm Kevin Johnson, local owner of Dutch Boy, along with my wife Becky. We invite you in to celebrate with us during our 30-year anniversary celebration. We will be celebrating the entire month of September by giving away car washes and having in-store specials. Thank you for the past 30 years, and we look forward to serving you for many more years to come.
Clean up your act. Do it today. Do it the Dutch Boy Car Wash way.
Two-play, 37-yard drive, 37-yard pass completion from Hartford to Norman. Point after good, and it is 20-0 in favor of Stevens with 9.5 to go in the third quarter of play. Whitesell to kick off from the 40-yard line. The Arrows have Brett Fossum back deep now, and he is joined by Evan Faulkner. Whitesell to put the toe to it at the 40-yard line. Approaches the ball and kicks it end over end. It's going to be short. That's picked up by an up back to the 25. Breaks a tackle and then driven out of bounds on the play for the Arrows was Ben Altoff, who made that catch and return. And the Arrows will have it 1st and 10. Where are they going to put it down? Around the 35-yard line, it looks like. 1st and 10, Arrows, 35-yard line. As they trot onto the field. 3 receivers to the right side, 1 to the left side. Fossum behind the quarterback, Brandon Smith. 4 down linemen. Couple of middle linebackers. Blitz coming left side, timed perfectly. They're just watching Brandon slap his hands. That's all they're doing now, is the Arrows don't have any change in their cadence. They snap the ball when Brandon slaps his hands, and you can see the linebacker. That time it was on the left side, and that was Brock Myers. He was just watching and waiting for Brandon to slap his hands, and he came on the blitz as soon as he did. So the Arrows have to do something different. They have to change up how they snap the ball to throw those linebackers' timing off a little bit. Loss of 3, it'll be 2nd down and 13. Because you can just see him watching Brandon. He slaps his hands, takes the snap, throws the slant behind Dawson Schmidt, incomplete. You can't blame Brandon. He's been harassed and pounded hard in this ball game, and that time just threw that ball real quick off balance and threw it behind Dawson, incomplete. So it's 3rd down and 13 for the Arrows at the 32-yard line is where they have it, trailing 20-0 in this ball game. We have 8:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. Arrows trips right, 1 receiver left. Here comes the linebacker on the left side again, watching the hand slap. There he comes, picked up nicely by Fossum. Out there, oh, Dawson Schmidt had his jersey grabbed. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. How in the world do you not see that? Dawson Schmidt running down the field. He had his jersey literally grabbed on the play, and no penalty was called. Incomplete. It was so easy to see from up here, and I know I have a different vantage point than the officials do, but you could just see they reached out and grabbed his jersey and held him back, and that should have been a penalty. Van Dusseldorp the punt from the 20. Gets the nice, high, booming punt away. Nesbitt calls for a fair catch at the 30-yard line and takes it there. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for Stevens after the punt. 1st and 10, Stevens. They'll put it down to the 29-yard line is where they will have it. Leading the Arrows by a score of 20-0 here. They break huddle. Norman goes wide to the left side with Keel. Nesbitt comes wide to the right side with Marciando. Quarterback keeper around the right side. He sidestepped around Ben Burry and then broke a tackle from Faulkner and dives for 11 or 12 on the game. You can just see Stevens' confidence is so high. Early in the game, the Arrows stopped him a few times, but since they've been having success, their confidence is so high, and they are just, that is evident right there by the play that they just ran with their quarterback on the fake handoff, and then he just took it around the right side. 1st and 10, 41-yard line. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right side. Shotgun for Colton Hartford. Takes the snap, going to give it to Phillip Walls. He's hit as he got the handoff. 2 Arrows on top of him. Colton Wench is one of them. Sam Strop the other. It'll be a loss of 3 on the play, bring up a 2nd down and 13. Stevens leading 20-0 with 7.5 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Three receivers to the right side, one to the left side on 2nd down and 13. Colton Hartford with a running back to his right shoulder. Takes the snap, play action, throws a floater across the middle. Norman had it, but Mason Lloyd put a good hit on him. And Norman had it knocked loose, and then Mason Lloyd, or I should say Norman and Strop got in each other's face. The ball goes incomplete. Good hit that time by safety Mason Lloyd to knock that ball loose. 3rd down and 13 for Stevens. They send a receiver to the left side, 3 to the right side. Shotgun formation for Colton Hartford. He hasn't had much pressure on him tonight at all. Awaits the snap. Takes the snap, back to pass, sets. Now he gets a little pressure from Brett Fossum, got away from that. There's a holding penalty coming, and then a big hit on the play by Cale Stevenson on Colton Hartford. Cale just blasted him at the 40-yard line. I thought he was going to stand over him, but he walked away, so a good decision by Cale Stevenson as he just blasted Hartford on that run. It's a holding penalty. It'll either be 4th down and 11 or 3rd down and 23. So they're talking it over with the coach. They're going to refuse the penalty. It was a gain of 1 yard on the play. Gain of 2 on the play, so it'll be 4th down and 11 for Stevens. Cale Stevenson, good hit on the play that time. Evan Faulkner goes back to receive a punt from Stevens, and I think this is their first punt of the ball game. Didn't punt there, didn't punt there, didn't punt there. Yep, this will be their first punt of the ball game if they do indeed punt the ball. Evan Faulkner all the way back at his 20-yard line. Awaits the punt. Snaps a good one. Punt is away. Line drive. Evan grabs it at the 15. He goes right to the 20. Penalty coming out on Dawson Schmidt. That's going to be a clipping penalty on Dawson. So it's coming back. Right in front of the official. He couldn't miss that one because it was right in front of him. And that's at the 21-yard line. So the Arrows will start deep in their own territory once again. It's a little harder to see somebody grabbing jersey, I guess, than it is to see the clip right in front of you. And so it'll be a penalty against the Watertown Arrows. The flag is at the 21-yard line. The return was all the way out near the 40. And they will step it off. Looks like they're going to step it off from the point of the infraction. From the 21 back to the 10.5-yard line. So Watertown will start 1st and 10 at their 10.5-yard line after the punt. That was a booming punt, by the way, from about the 30 all the way to the 15. It was a line drive, though, and Evan had a nice return on it, but Dawson got called for a clipping penalty. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Arrows at the 10.5-yard line, their own. They'll line up with empty backfield. 4 receivers to the left side, 1 receiver to the right side, so 5 in the formation. Brandon takes the snap, flips it out to Brett Fossum through his hands, though incomplete. Trying to get Brett the ball with some blockers ahead of him, but the ball a little high and Brett couldn't pull it in. It'll be 2nd down and 10, Arrows at their 10.5. 6:43 to go first half of play. It's 20-0. Stevens on top. Arrows line up with 4 to the left, 1 to the right side once again. Empty backfield for Brandon Smith. Linebackers look like they're coming again. Brandon takes the snap. Big rush. Throws it down the right side. Dawson Schmidt makes the catch. Dawson 35-40. Dawson to the 40. Dawson to the 30. Dawson on his feet all the way in. Dawson Schmidt will score. That'll go 90 yards on the touchdown. Probably should have been pass interference as well. They battled for the ball. It popped up in the air. Dawson was able to come down with it. He outran the defense 90 yards for the score. 6:28 to go in the third quarter, and the Arrows get on the board. 886-8444. 886-8444. Get your name registered. You could win a Dutch Boy soft cloth car wash. There was a lot of contact on that play by Jacob Hafner, but they've been letting that go all night long. Dawson able to catch the ball after it popped up in the air. Bad snap. Down on the ground, and it'll go no good on the point after as that snap was rolled, and the snapping hasn't been very good in this ball game tonight for the Arrows. But they get on the board. 20-6 Stevens. Arrows kick in 30.
Brian's Glass is a proud supporter of high school athletics and wishes all of the Watertown Arrows athletes good luck during the year. Brian's Glass can assist you with commercial and residential glass needs and is also able to assist you with your windshield needs. For all of your glass needs, contact Brian's Glass at 886-5328. That's Brian's Glass, 886-5328. And go Arrows.
2 plays, 90 yards for the Arrows. Dawson Schmidt on the touchdown catch and run. And the Arrows get on the board, make it a 20-6 ball game as the snap was rolled and not handled. And Watertown will kick off. Cade Rumsa to do that. Stevens has 3 guys back deep. Keel, Norman, and also Nesbitt back deep to receive it. So it'll be Cade Rumsa to kick off from the 40-yard line. Cade approaches the ball, puts the leg to it. Nice deep kick coming to Norman at the 10 to the 15. Norman looks for a lane. Norman still on his feet to the 40, breaks a tackle, still on his feet. He's going to be grabbed and pulled out of bounds on the play by the kicker, Cade Rumsa. But a nice return by Norman, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens. Not sure where they're going to put the ball down at. They're going to put it at the 33-yard line of Watertown. So it'll be 1st and 10, Stevens at Watertown's 33-yard line. Nice return by Michael Norman. Stevens sends 3 receivers to the left side. Doney out there as well. Nesbitt wide to the right. Norman getting a breather. 1st down and 10, 33. Snap give to Glenn. Glenn trying to bounce to the outside. He avoided Cale Stevenson, but can't avoid Colton Wenches and Van Dusseldorp, and then a flag comes in late. So might be a face mask on the Watertown Arrows. Yep, that's going to be the call. So the Arrows make a good defensive play, but get called for a face mask at the 40-yard line. So it'll be stepped off from the 40-yard line. And it's a 5-yard step off is all. And so that will bring up a 1st down and 7 as they put the ball at the 35-yard line. 1st down and 7. 2 receivers to the left side, 2 receivers to the right side. Uriah Glenn to the right shoulder of the running back on 1st down and 7, and now Steven wants to take a timeout. 5:59 to go, 3rd quarter, 20-6 Stevens. We'll take time and be back in a minute.
Have you had questions about security freezes, credit cards, student loans, buying a car, durable medical supplies, elder abuse, travel, etc.? If so, request a copy of the newly printed South Dakota Consumer Handbook, provided by the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection. Contact them at 1-800-300-1986 or by emailing consumerhelp@statesd.us to request your copy. They're here to help you.
Everyone at the Dairy Queen in Watertown is cheering the Watertown Arrows to a victory. After the game, stop in for one of their famous chicken strip baskets with fries, Texas toast, and country gravy. Don't forget to add a sundae, malt, shake, or blizzard to your meal. During the 212 reconstruction, be sure to use the 8th Avenue FedEx entrance. It's more than just fast food, it's fan food. Good luck to the Watertown Arrows and their game tonight from the Dairy Queen Grill and Chill on Highway 212 Watertown.
DQ. Happy tastes good.
1st and 7 for Stevens after the penalty. They have receivers left and right, 2 each way. Arrows jump, and the Arrows are offside, it looks like. And that'll be a 5-yard penalty against Watertown. Colton Wirtz jumped into the neutral zone here on the left side of the play. Connor Wirtz, my mistake. Connor Wirtz was the guy who jumped off. So we've got 2 receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Now it is 1st down and 2. Colton Hartford awaits the snap, takes it, rolls to his right, flips it out on the flat to Nesbitt, catches the ball rolling at the 21-yard line. That'll be a gain of 9, and now a penalty behind the play as well. And that's going to be a hold against Stevens at the 32-yard line. So we just can't get a 1st down play played, because that'll be stepped off from the 31-yard line and go back to the 41-yard line. And that'll take us back to where the Arrows stopped Uriah Glenn in the first place. And now it'll be 1st down and 13 for Stevens at the Arrow 38-yard line. 5:53 to go in the 3rd quarter. Stevens leads 20-6. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right side. See if the Arrows, well, they're not going to really put any pressure on. They got 3 down linemen. Colton Hartford takes the snap, rolls to his left, flips it out in the flat, but threw it behind Norman, incomplete. So it'll be 2nd down and 13 for Stevens. The ball at the 41-yard line. Second game scheduled for 8 o'clock out here. They'll be pushing it as many times as we've thrown the ball tonight and as many times as the clock has stopped. We're only 5:48 to go in the 3rd quarter. 3 receivers to the left side, 1 to the right side on 2nd down and 13. Movement by those receivers, never really got set. The ball flipped out and dropped on the play by Keel that time, incomplete. The receivers were really never set. They were kind of moving, kind of rocking back and forth. That's a penalty in most football games. If you're rocking back and forth and you're not set for a full second, that should be a penalty. Instead, it's an incomplete pass, and now it's 3rd down and 13 for Stevens at the 41-yard line. They send 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right once again, and now Norman shifts from left to right. So 2 receivers either side. Hartford awaits the snap, takes it. Back to pass, looks across the middle, going deep into the end zone to Nesbitt. Falconer's out there. Nesbitt pushed off and cleared himself from Falconer. And when he pushed off with that left arm, he cleared himself enough to make the reception and the touchdown. Nice ball that time by Colton Hartford as he laid it right in there. And Nesbitt did a perfect job of just pushing off with that left arm just as the ball was getting there, cleared himself enough to make the reception for the touchdown. Point after coming here by Whitesell. Snap is good, set is down, kick is no good. 5:38 to go in the 3rd quarter, 26-6 in favor of Stevens. They kick to the Arrows in 30.
Uptown Cleaners will simplify your life with their dry cleaning and laundry service for shirts, suits, dresses, coats, blankets, bedspreads, comforters, and more. With drive-up-to-the-door convenience and same-day service, along with text or email notification when your items are ready for pickup, Uptown Cleaners really does make life easier for you. Uptown Cleaners, 123 5th Street Southeast on Highway 81. Call 882-4041. Uptown Cleaners, proud supporter of Aero Sports.
Four-play 33-yard drive that included a loss of 3, 2 incomplete passes, 2 penalties on the Arrows, 1 penalty on Stevens, and a 41-yard touchdown pass for the score. So it's a 4-play 33-yard drive, 41-yard touchdown. Stevens will kick to the Watertown Arrows. 5:38 to go here. Third quarter, it's 26-6 in favor of Stevens. Whitesell to kick the ball off. Looked like Stevens was offside over here. The play goes to Fossum. Fossum runs left. Fossum gets across the 25 and out near the 29-yard line on the play. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line for the Watertown Arrows, trailing 26-6. And they will spot it at the 29-yard line is where Watertown will start. 1st and 10, 29-yard line for the Watertown Arrows, trailing by a 26-6 margin to Rapid City Stevens. Arrows taking a long time to get out onto the field. Van Dusseldorp is wide to the right side. The Arrows have 4 receivers to the right, empty backfield. Dawson Schmidt wide to the left side. He's been covered out here 1-on-1 by Hafner the whole game, and they've had a lot of contact. Brandon throws the ball into the turf. Incomplete. Was intended for Evan Faulkner, but it goes incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10 Arrows at the 29-yard line. Tomorrow I'll be at Sioux Falls, Washington. That's if this game gets done in time and we get home. I'll be at Sioux Falls, Washington for volleyball tomorrow. 4 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, empty backfield. Brandon on 2nd and 10 takes the snap, sets, throws across the middle. Ooh, if he would have saw Mason Lloyd was wide open, he locked in on Van Dusseldorp. But Mason Lloyd running up the seam there was wide open, nobody defending him at all. And the ball went to Van Dusseldorp, incomplete. Brandon just doesn't have enough time to look around the field as the pressure's been on him all night long. 3rd down and 10 Arrows, 29-yard line. 5:23 to go in the third quarter of play. 26-6, Stevens on top. 4 receivers right, 1 to the left side. Brandon, empty backfield again. Blitz coming left side. They timed the slap of his hands. Throws it out here for Dawson Schmidt, but overshoots it. Hafner does a good job of just getting in the way of Dawson Schmidt and not allowing him to get upfield, and that ball overthrown, incomplete, and the Arrows will have to punt the ball. So it's 4th down and 10 for Watertown. 29-yard line is where the Arrows have it. Van Dusseldorp will punt. Back to receive it is Nesbitt for Stevens. Snap hit an up back, and that's going to be recovered by Van Dusseldorp, but it's going to be a loss all the way back to the 16-yard line. That is a 13-yard loss for the Watertown Arrows. They turn it over on downs, and it'll be 1st and 10 Stevens at the 15-yard line of the Watertown Arrows. The snap hit one of the upbacks, and Van Dusseldorp, all he could do was cover it. Stevens sends 3 receivers to the left side. Now they shift 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Phillip Walls to the right shoulder of the quarterback. 1st down and 10, 15-yard line. Quarterback keeper running right. Trying to get upfield was Hartford. Slowed down on the play by Peyton Johnston and then finished off by Fossum. Gain of a yard on the carry for Colton Hartford, the quarterback. 4:55 to go third quarter, 26-6 Stevens on top. They have it second and 9 just inside the 15-yard line of the Watertown Arrows. Three receivers to the left side, one to the right side. Phillip Walls to the right shoulder of the quarterback. Now shifts to the left side. Colton Hartford awaits the snap. Gets a good one. Sets his feet. Throws it out in the flat. Got it to Nesbitt. He was brought down by Falconer. He dove for the end zone. He got to the 1-yard line. Whistle, though, and what? A penalty on the play. Cut block against Stevens. The flag down at the 15-yard line, so that will negate that completion. And they will step it off from the 15-yard line. And that is a 10-yard cut block penalty. So it'll be second down now and 20 for Stevens. From the 25-yard line, they've got to get to the 5-yard line for a first down. Trips left, Nesbitt wide to the right side. Phillip Walls to the right shoulder of the quarterback. Takes the snap. Pump fakes. Rolls to his right. Fossum, good pressure. Throws it out of the end zone, incomplete. Brett Fossum did a good job as he came the linebacker. He jumped up when Hartford wanted to throw that ball to Nesbitt, and then he had to bring it back down, and he kept chase and forced him to throw it away. So it's third down and 20, 25-yard line for Stevens. They lead by a score of 26-6 with 4:14 to go in the third quarter. Aberdeen Central and Rapid City Central still coming up after this one. Trips left, one receiver to the right. It's third down and 20. Colton Hartford takes the snap, flips it out into the flat, got his man, and nice move by Keel. He's going to get around everybody and step out of bounds just short of the end zone, but he's going to get a good gainer. Nice move that time by Keel, and he's going to pick up the first down all the way to the 4-yard line, so that's a 21-yard gain on just a little flat pass, and it'll be first and goal. Branson Keel made the nice little move there, and he got around the Arrows for a 21-yard gain. It's first and goal at the 4-yard line. Not sure what the official's coming over to talk to Steve Svensson about, but he came over and said something to him. Oh, they want time back on the clock. That's what it is. And then there's a car up on the hill with headlights on. So it'll be first and goal for Stevens. They're going to line up with a linebacker and a lineman in the backfield. Big number 77, Wesley Folsom, and big number 50, Isaac Galen, lining up as blockers for Phillip Walls. Walls going to get down around the 2-yard line, maybe got to the 1-yard line. Penalty flags fly after the play. I'm not sure who that's going to go on, but I think it might be on an Arrow for some extracurriculars after the play. There's 3 flags down. The gain was to the 2-yard line. And I haven't seen an indication by the official. Personal foul against Stevens is going to be the call. So that's going to go the other direction. That'll be a 15-yard penalty against Stevens on a personal foul. I thought the way the Arrows reacted, it was going to be on them, but it goes on Stevens. So the Arrow was just pushing his teammate away, so he didn't also get a penalty. So now it'll be first and goal from the 16-yard line. Stevens leading by a score of 26-6, 3:53 to go third quarter. This quarter has taken forever. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Second down and goal from the 16. They flip it out to Norman. Norman looks for a block. Cale Stevenson was able to fight off that block, and that was Sam Marciando. And Cale was able to force Norman out after a short gain of a couple of yards. So now it'll be third down and goal at the 14-yard line for Stevens. Norman went out of bounds, stopped the clock at 3:48. Third and goal from the 14-yard line. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right side. Uriah Glenn, right shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. Takes the snap, sets, looks on an inside slant, not there. Though it was there, he finally got it to his man. It took a long time. And then Keel runs over the would-be tackler and got into the end zone, but there are flags all over the place. There's a flag at the 7, there's a flag at the 15, and we'll see what the discussion will be. That play took a long time to develop as it came across. I thought that it was going to be a broken play. It's going to be a penalty against Stevens, so it will not go as a touchdown. It took a long time for that play to develop, so a lineman got downfield too quick, and that'll be the call against Stevens. So that takes it out to the 19, where it'll be third and goal at the 19 now. Third and goal for Stevens, 19-yard line of Watertown. Clock stopped again, 3:40 to go. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right side. Uriah Glenn to the right shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. Awaits the snap on third and goal, 19, takes it, sets his feet, throws across the middle. Got it to Norman. Norman will get into the end zone for the touchdown. Norman was one of the slots, and he just went upfield and then came across the middle. Plenty of time, and good protection for the quarterback. No pressure by the Arrows, and Norman made the catch and outran the defender chasing him for the score, and that'll go as a 6 play, 15-yard drive, and it's a 19-yard score. Makes it 32-6. Snaps low, sets down, kick is up, and it is through the uprights. 3:32 to go in the game, 33-6 Stevens. They'll kick to the Arrows when we come back in 30.
It's a 3-day cereal truckload sale, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 6, 7, and 8 at Hy-Vee in Watertown. Mix and match Post Kids cereal, Captain Crunch or Post Honey Bunches of Oats. 5 for $10, plus earn 40 cents off per gallon with a purchase of 5. A 3-day sale.
Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every eye.
6-play, 15-yard drive, 19-yard touchdown pass. Point after good, 33-6 in favor of Stevens. There were 3 penalties in that drive, all against Stevens, and they still got the score. Peyton Johnston back deep for Watertown along with Evan Faulkner. Short kick. Evan grabs it at the 12 to the 15, tries to go to the outside. He's got the 20-25, brought down around the 29-yard line. Arrows will start there, 1st and 10, 29-yard line is where they will have the ball to start this drive. 33-6 Stevens, 3:25 to go in the third quarter of play. The second game scheduled to start at 53 minutes. Not going to happen. Arrows line up with 3 receivers to the left side, 1 to the right side. Brett Fossum behind the quarterback, Brandon Smith. Stevens running 2 down linemen now, some extra linebackers and defensive backs. Brett runs left, and he'll get a couple of yards. out to the 32-yard line, a gain of maybe 3 on the carry for Brett Fossum. Give him 4 on the carry. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Arrows look to the sideline. Stevens substitutes some players. Arrows line up with trips right and 1 receiver left. Fossum behind the quarterback. 2nd down and 6. Brandon Smith slaps his hands. High snap. Penalty flag flies. Must be a delay of game if it came from that spot. And it will be. No, it's 12 men on the field for Stevens is what the call is. So illegal participation. So that'll be a 5-yard gain for Watertown as Stevens gets the penalty. That was one thing that frustrated Coach Steve Svensson a week ago, he said, was all the penalties they've gotten, and they've accumulated quite a few in this second half as well. 2nd down and 1 for the Arrows. Offside this time. I think that's going to go on the linebacker who's been timing the slap all night long, Brock Myers, and I think he was a little too quick that time. So another penalty against Stevens, as that'll be an offside penalty against Brock Myers. So that'll give the Arrows a 1st down. It'll be 1st and 10, Watertown, 43-yard line. Like I said earlier, the linebackers have just been kind of watching and timing the hand slap for Brandon Smith to get the snap of the ball, and they've been getting in there quick. 3 receivers to the right, 1 receiver to the left for the Arrows. 1st and 10, 43. Brandon slaps his hands. The ball is a bad snap. He picks it up. He runs left with that bad ankle. He gets thrown down after a no gain on the play. Maybe got a loss on the play. Making the stop was Isaac Galeson, who's been a really good linebacker for Stevens in this ball game tonight. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Arrows, 43-yard line. 2:15 to go in the 3rd quarter, 33-6 in favor of Stevens. Arrows with 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Fossum behind the quarterback. Brandon looks downfield, takes the snap. Fakes, throws it to Evan Faulkner. Evan breaks 1 tackle to his 50, to the 45, to the 40. Cuts back to the 30, still on his feet, and finally pulled out of bounds and then thrown out of bounds, and a penalty flag's going to come on top of it. 10, 20, 30, 35 yards, and then a late hit is going to be called against Stevens as well. So a gain of 35 on the play, and then another penalty coming against Stevens on the play as well. Personal foul as they hit Evan out of bounds. And that'll be half the distance to the goal. And that's going to take the ball all the way down to the 11-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10, Arrows at the 11-yard line of Stevens. The Arrows with 3 receivers left this time, 1 to the right side. Blitz coming from the left side. Brandon takes the snap, flips it out in the flat to Brett Fossum. He's got 3 guys chasing him. He goes out of bounds. And then he's tackled about 6 yards out of bounds as well on the play, and it'll be a loss of a couple of yards for Brett Fossum. And that'll stop the clock. Stevens had 3 guys see that play, and all 3 of them were chasing Brett, and he just ran out of bounds. Rapid City Central's teams here, they got a whole nother quarter to wait. 2 receivers either way for Watertown. It's 2nd down and 12 at the 13-yard line. Man in motion is Evan Faulkner. Back to pass, throw to the end zone, and Dawson Schmidt did a good job of getting the inside position on Joe Weber, but then could not pull the ball in. It goes incomplete in the end zone. Brandon threw that one up for grabs. Dawson did a good job of getting inside of Weber. Went up, had the ball in his hands, but couldn't hang on to it. It'll be 3rd down and 12 at the 13. Third and 12 at the 13 for Watertown. The Arrows stay with the trips right formation, 1 receiver left. Brandon Smith with Fossum behind him. Brandon looks to his right, slaps, blitz coming, picked up by Fossum. Throw underneath, got it to Mason Lloyd, but that'll be short of the 1st down. He'll get down around the 7 or 8 yard line. It'll be a gain to the 8 is all they're going to give him, so a gain of 5 on the completion, and that'll bring up a 4th down and 7 for Watertown. 4th and 7 for the Arrows at the 8 yard line. Watertown has 3 to the left and 1 to the right. Brandon Schmidt sees a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage. Slaps his hands back to pass. Pressure. Throws underneath. Incomplete. At the goal line. And that'll go over on downs to Stevens. And they will have it 1st and 10 at their 8 yard line. 47 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Stevens leading by a score of 33-6. And Stevens has the ball 1st and 10 at the 8 yard line. Colton Hartford's in there at quarterback, looking to the sideline to get the call. And he gets it. And breaks huddle. He sends 3 receivers to the right, 1 receiver to the left side. On 1st and 10 at the 8 yard line of Stevens. Handoff, running right with it is Uriah Glenn. Glenn runs hard. Glenn gets a 1st down as he'll get 11 yards on the carry. And that stops the clock to move the chains. 40 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Stevens leading 33-6. And before the chains are even set, the official's winding up his arm. He wants this clock to run too. 1st and 10, Stevens at the 19 yard line after the 11 yard gain there by Uriah Glenn. Nesbitt comes wide to the right side. Doney with him. 2 receivers to the left side as well. 1st and 10, 19 yard line. Hartford takes the snap, gives to Uriah Glenn, breaks 1 tackle. And he pulls his way out near the 25. That'll be a gain of 6 on the carry. The Arrows had an initial hit on him but couldn't bring him down. 3 quarters done. 33-6. Stevens. 4th quarter comes your way in 1 minute.
Uptown Cleaners will simplify your life with their dry cleaning and laundry service for shirts, suits, dresses, coats, blankets, bedspreads, comforters, and more. With drive-up-to-the-door convenience and same-day service, along with text or email notification when your items are ready for pickup, Uptown Cleaners really does make life easier for you. Uptown Cleaners, 123 5th Street Southeast on Highway 81. Call 882-4041. Uptown Cleaners, proud supporter of Aero Sports.
At Great Western Bank, they know that champions play as one. One team with one goal. They know that champions don't just happen. They are built with determination and the right mix of coaching and teammates. You can count on Great Western Bank as a trustworthy teammate that will go the extra mile to help you win. To learn more, visit your nearest branch today and become part of a winning team. Great Western Bank, making life great. Member FDIC.
33-6 in favor of Stevens as we get set for the 4th quarter of play here tonight. Stevens has the ball. They have it 2nd down and 3 at the 26 yard line. Uriah Glenn with 18 yards rushing on 2 carries. Stevens sends 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Running back directly behind the quarterback, Colton Hartford now. 2nd down and 3. Give is to that running back. Brett Fossum there to grab him. Also in on the tackle for the Watertown Arrows that time was Brandon Locker. Gain of a yard on the play, and it'll be 3rd down and 2. Third and 2 for Stevens. The ball down at the 27-yard line. Rapid City Central and Aberdeen Central play the second game here tonight. 2 receivers either side. Uriah Glenn behind the quarterback on 3rd down and 2. Colton Hartford. Whoops, there's movement. That's a penalty against Glenn. And that'll be a 5-yard penalty against Stevens and bring up now a 3rd and looks like about 8. 3rd and 7. 3rd down and 7 for Stevens. The ball back at their 22.5-yard line. They lead this game 33-6, just underway in the 4th quarter. 3 receivers to the right side, 1 to the left side. Uriah Glenn lines up to the right shoulder of the quarterback. Colton Hartford takes the snap, back to pass. Looks, throws across the middle, almost intercepted by Mason Lloyd. High, intended there for Nesbitt. And that'll bring up a 4th down and 7 for the Stevens Raiders, and it appears they will punt the ball. Colton Hartford to do the punting. Evan Faulkner drops back to receive it. So Stevens will punt the ball. Colton Hartford stands around his 10-yard line. He awaits the snap. Gets a good one. Good punt away, high end over end. Faulkner, fair catch called for. He dropped it, but he dove on it at the 47-yard line. And so the Arrows will take over. 1st and 10 at their 47-yard line is where the Arrows will have it. 10:45 to go in the game. It is 33-6. Stevens on top. Next week, the Arrows host Rapid City Central at homecoming. Dawson Schmidt goes wide to the left side. Van Dusseldorp, Faulkner, and Lloyd come wide to the right side. Shotgun formation for Brandon Smith. On 1st down, Brandon slaps the hands. He's going to give to Brett Fossum. Fossum breaks the tackle. Brett still on his feet, pulls free again, dives all the way down to the 37-yard line. It's a gain of 16 for Brett Fossum, who lost his shoe on the run. Brings up a 1st and 10 for the Watertown Arrows. The ball down 36-yard line of Stevens. Fossum goes out. Cale Stevenson in the game. Cale, a hard runner for the Arrows as well when he's in there. 2 receivers either side for Watertown. Now they shift. Trips left and 1 receiver to the right. Brandon Schmidt with Cale Stevenson behind him. Slaps his hands, high snap. Gives to Cale. Cale tiptoes. Now tries to go forward and will go forward for about 5 yards on the carry for Cale Stevenson. So it'll be 2nd down and give him 4. 2nd down and 6. An Arrow limping out of the ball game. And limping out for the Watertown Arrows is Mason German. So it'll be 2nd and 6 for Watertown as they look to the sideline for the play call. Arrows line up with 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Count by the back judge has started. Arrows got a snap, and they do. They throw a bit of a screen to Dawson Schmidt, but not much there. He'll get a yard or 2 to the 30-yard line. Michael Norman making the stop. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 for a first down for the Watertown Arrows. 9 minutes to go in the game. Stevens leading 33-6. Arrows with 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Double coverage on the 1 to the right. Man in motion. Brandon back to pass, wants to throw a screen. Got it to Brett Fossum. Fossum goes left. Fossum trying to outrun Norman. Fossum puts his shoulder down, goes out of bounds around the 6-yard line. A gain of 24 on the screen pass to Brett Fossum. And they'll put it down around the 6 or 7 yard line down there. So it'll be 1st and goal for Watertown inside the 10. 8:43 to go. Arrows to snap the ball. Brandon Smith has a man in motion again, gives it to the man in motion. Mason Lloyd cuts back. Mason gets into the end zone. 7-yard touchdown run for Mason Lloyd. 886-8444. Get your name registered. You could win a Dutch Boy soft cloth car wash. That score comes with 8:37 to go in the 4th quarter of play. And that will go in the books as a 5 play, 53-yard drive for the Watertown Arrows. The Arrows getting a player late on the field again. The kick is up, and it is through the uprights. And nope, it went wide to the left, and now penalty flags fly after the play. The Arrows were trying to get a man on the field when they snapped the ball. He was running towards the line. The kick was away. The officials then, after they waved it off, threw their flags. And now both teams are running to the sideline. So a penalty against Watertown refused by Stevens. 33-12, Stevens leads. Arrows kick when we come back in 30.
Everyone at the Dairy Queen in Watertown is cheering the Watertown Arrows to a victory. After the game, stop in for one of their famous chicken strip baskets with fries, Texas toast, and country gravy. Don't forget to add a sundae, malt, shake, or blizzard to your meal. During the 212 reconstruction, be sure to use the 8th Avenue FedEx entrance. It's more than just fast food, it's fan food. Good luck to the Watertown Arrows and their game tonight from the Dairy Queen Grill and Chill on Highway 212 Watertown.
Thank you. Happy tastes good.
5 play, 53-yard drive. Mason Lloyd with a 7-yard touchdown run. Makes it a 33-12 Stevens lead, and Rumpsa will kick off from the 40-yard line. Nesbitt back deep, also back there. Marciando and also Keel, I believe, back deep. Rumpsa to put the foot to it, does so. Booming kick. It's going to go all the way to the end zone, and that is a touchback because Marciando stepped into the end zone, and in high school football, when you do that, that's an automatic touchback. So Stevens will start 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. And we have 8:35 to go in the game. It is 33-12 in favor of Stevens. We'll announce our Dutch Boy Soft Cloth Car Wash winner on the post game. We'll also announce our McDonald's Arrow Player of the Game tonight. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, running back behind the quarterback, Colton Hartford. Hartford 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, awaits the snap, gets it. He's going to throw it out here and got it to Keel. Keel down the left side. Keel goes out of bounds, stops the clock after a gain of 12 on the pass completion. So it'll be 1st and 10. Stevens, they'll have the ball at the 32-yard line, their own 32. Clock stopped with 8:29 to go. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left side. Colton Hartford shotgun formation, awaits the snap, takes the snap, throws it out on the flat, Got it to his receiver, Nesbitt. Nesbitt breaks some tackles. Gets across the 47 or the 45 to the 47. It's a gain of 15 on the pass completion. So it'll be 1st and 10. Stevens, 47-yard line is where they will have it. They line up with 3 to the wide side, 1 to the short side. Uriah Glenn right behind the quarterback. Dropped his mouth guard, picked it up, awaits the snap, takes the snap, gives to Uriah. Uriah runs into the arms of an Arrow waiting for him here on the right side. And I think that was Braxton Locker, again, the defensive end here, who made the stop. Loss of a couple of yards on the play. And we are down to 7.5 to go in the game. Arrows trailing 33-12. Trips left, 1 right for Stevens on 2nd down and 12. Colton Hartford takes the snap, throws it out here to Keel. Keel works back against the grain. Keel still on his feet. Keel goes across the formation. He's brought down by Falconer on the play, but that'll be a gain of 10, 20, or I should say 18 on the pass completion. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Stevens at the Arrow 33-yard line. 1st and 10, 33 of Watertown. They line up with trips left again, 1 to the right side. Colton Hartford, shotgun formation, takes the snap, throws it out here again, got his man, and that is Keel again. Cale Stevenson brought him down, pulled the ball loose, but the whistle had blown, a gain of 9 on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 1 for Stevens at the Arrow 25. This drive started on their own 20-yard line. I figured they'd just hand it off and run the clock, but instead they're running it with the short passes to the flat. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left side. Uriah Glenn behind the quarterback on 2nd down and 1. Movement by the receiver here on the left side, Keel, and that'll be a penalty against Stevens and step him back 5 yards. It's really been the only negative in the night for Stevens is penalties. Otherwise, they played really well. Offensively and defensively, they played really well. So it's 2nd down and 7 now as they have the ball at the 30-yard line. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left side in Arrow territory. Colton Hartford on 2nd and 7, takes the snap, fakes the handoff, throws it out to Nesbitt this time. Nesbitt goes around everybody, runs down the sideline, but stepped out of bounds around the 16-yard line. It's a gain of 14 on the pass completion. It'll be 1st and 10, Stevens at the Arrow 16-yard line with 5.5 still to go in the ball game. Stevens leading by a score of 33-12. Three receivers to the left, 1 receiver to the right. Hartford awaits the snap, takes it, gives it to Uriah Glenn. He's grabbed there. And on the hit once again for the Arrows was Locker. Braxton Locker, the defensive end on the right side, made the stop after a gain of a couple of yards for Uriah Glenn. (33-12) Stevens, 5 minutes to go in the game. Stevens with 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Uriah Glenn behind the quarterback on 2nd down and 8. Colton Hartford takes the snap, throws it out to Keel again, breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet, gets all the way down inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down. Mason Lloyd made the stop. Gain of 8 on the completion. It'll be first and goal at the 5-yard line for Stevens. Coming up on play number 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 on this drive. First and goal at the 5. 3 receivers to the right side, 1 receiver to the left side. Uriah Glenn to the left shoulder of the quarterback, Colton Hartford. First and goal at the 5. Hartford takes the snap, gives to Glenn, runs right, cuts back, touchdown, Uriah Glenn. Uriah Glenn, 5 yards for the touchdown with 4:08 to go in the fourth quarter of play, and Stevens will try to tack on a point after as they lead it now by a 39-12 score. 10-play, 80-yard drive for Stevens. The last 5 by Uriah Glenn. Point after attempt, snaps good, sets down, kick is up, and it is through the uprights. So we have 4:08 to go in the game. Stevens 40, Watertown 12. Stevens kicks in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to Perkins. Having your usual?
Actually, no. I'm in the mood for something southwestern.
Like our Santa Fe shrimp omelet?
On second thought, got anything Italian?
Shrimp pasta primavera.
What about Cajun?
How's the Bayou shrimp skillet sound?
Tough choice. They all sound shrimply the best.
Put a tasty twist on summer with Perkins' limited-time shrimp menu. Enjoy a Santa Fe shrimp omelet, shrimp pasta primavera, and more, starting at just $7.99, only at Perkins.
10-play, 80-yard drive. Hartford was 6 for 6 on those little short passes, 76 yards. Uriah Glenn, 2 rushes for 3 yards, some penalties in there as well. 5-yard touchdown, and it is 40-12 in favor of Stevens, and they will kick off to the Watertown Arrows. .408 to go. Short kick. Going to be grabbed by an up back who runs straight ahead with the ball out to the 39-yard line. And that was Mac Johnson who caught that ball and took it straight ahead. So it'll be first and 10 Arrows at the 39-yard line. First and 10 for Watertown, 39-yard line of Stevens. 4:04 to go in the game, 40-12, Stevens on top. Ben Burry in there at quarterback for Watertown now. I think Cale Stevenson is the running back on first and 10, 39. Ben Burry awaits the snap. Slaps his hands, takes it, hands it off to Cale. Cale jumped over one tackler, but then was brought down by the next. No gain on the play. It'll be second and 10 for Watertown, with under 4 minutes to go in the game, trailing 40-12. New running back in the ball game for the Arrows, and that will be Mac Young running the ball. Mac Young now behind Ben Burry at quarterback on second down and 10. Ben takes the snap, flips it out in the flat, completed it, but no gain on the play on the pass completion to Nate Ingalls, who made the catch. No gain. It'll be third down and 10 for Watertown with 3 minutes to go in the ball game. Third down and 10 for the Arrows at the 39-yard line. They line up with 3 to the right, 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Ben Burry awaits the snap. Takes the snap, back to pass. Throws it out here and almost intercepted. Ingalls faked an out and went up the field. Burry threw the out. Almost picked off by Elijah Oxner, but it goes incomplete, and the Arrows will punt the ball. 2:38 to go in the game. It is 40-12 in favor of Stevens. Dropping back to receive this punt is Justin Junior. Bounced once again, and on top of it, Van Dusseldorp went down on his knee, according to the official. And when you go down on your knee in high school football, you are down. So that's going to be a loss on the play of 10 and no punt. So Van Dusseldorp gets credited with a loss of 10 yards, and Stevens takes over 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line of Watertown. High school football, you can't kneel to catch the ball, and Van Dusseldorp must have done that, and the official blew it down. So it'll be 1st and 10. Stevens, they'll have it at the Arrow 26-yard line. New quarterback is Joe Weber for Stevens. They line up with an I formation behind him. They're short one lineman. And now he comes in. Weber takes the snap, gives it to his second running back, and that was Justin Junior running right and losing a couple of yards. So it'll be 2nd down and 12, 2nd down and 13 for Stevens. Joe Weber at quarterback. Sends a couple of receivers right, one to the left. I formation behind him on 2nd down and 12. Weber takes the snap, gives to the second back, running left this time, losing a couple of more yards. Janelle going left. Tackle made by Max Robel for the Watertown Arrows. Brings up a loss of 2 or 3, 4. It'll be 3rd down and 15. Minute and a half to go in the game. Stevens leading by a score of 40-12. Weber with an I formation behind him. A new running back in there now. Whoops, and that new running back leaned forward before the snap of the ball, and that is Declan Malone at running back, and now he'll come out of the game and be replaced. That'll be a 5-yard penalty against Stevens, and again, that's really the only negative thing they've done all night is penalties. Otherwise, they played really well. 3rd down and long, 3rd down and 20 for Stevens with 1:08 to go. Weber under center. Weber takes the snap. There goes Malone running left. Nice gain for Malone after committing the penalty. He gains 8 of it back. And we are down under a minute to go. It'll be 4th down and 12 for Stevens at the Arrow 28-yard line with 40 seconds remaining. So one more snap. And then it'll, if they don't make a 1st down, go over on downs to Watertown, and the Arrows will have one snap, and it'll be over. Looks like a new quarterback in there now. Danlin Malone. Malone takes the snap, gives to Declan Malone. He goes left, and he'll gain 1 yard. And there's 16 seconds left, and it'll go over on downs to Watertown. It'll be 1st and 10 Arrows at their 27-yard line. So one snap, and this game will be over, or will they wind it up without a snap? I think you got to snap the ball. $40-12 is the score right now. First and 10, Watertown, 27-yard line is where the Arrows have it. Bunch of new guys in there. Ben Burry waits the snap, gets the snap, hands it off, tackle made, clock runs out, and that'll be the final play of the ball game. 40-12, the final score. Stevens wins here tonight over the Watertown Arrows. Let's take a break. Post-game